And that's where I've left the bodies. Hello, everybody. This is Blackdog number 315.
Woo!
Woo! Who knew we'd get this far?
Yes, who knew?
I must admit I didn't. Not at this point, anyway. Anyway, hello, everybody. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And this week, a little bit later than advertised, thanks to the miracle of Skype being shit once again. But we're here on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday, and we will be having our usual How's Your Week? And then we will be talking about this week's Conservatory movie, which is Bill Nighy and Michael Sheen's Conservatory, a big double-breasted one, I think.
Double dormer?
Double dormer, yeah, for sure. Double dormer. It may even be 2 floors. But yeah, the Conservatory movie of the week, which is Underworld, the original. But before we get to that, let's see how everyone's week's been. And we're not joined by Elton this week, as he is learning how to put fuses in a fuse box. Or possibly he just didn't want... I think he just didn't want to be on this cast, if I'm honest.
I think so.
I think he knew what was coming, so he just thought, fuck it, I'm off. So he's made some sort of excuse again. Did his best. Oh, I'm feeling not very well. I've got to go on a training course thing, and then he just fucked off. So we haven't got Elton again. So it's, again, pre-200 episode lineup. And, yeah, let's Flashback, yeah. Now, let's see how everyone's week's been. So we'll go straight to you, Jim. So how was your week, barring yesterday's Facebook, Skype shenanigans?
It's been fairly quiet. As I've been fending off a dose of some sort of cold or something.
Oh, God, yeah.
One day I woke up with a sore throat. The next day I woke up with gone, but I had sinusitis instead.
Oh,
and the
nice.
next day both had gone, and I just had a stuffed up head. And it's kind of, I don't like these newfangled modern illnesses that just sort of clock in and off in a shoddy fashion and just don't stick to consistent symptoms.
Yeah.
And I don't like these ones that just make me a little bit ill and annoy me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be ill. I want to be properly ill so I can get out the smack and lie in bed all day.
Get out the smack and lie in bed. Yeah, bit of Leonard
just
Cohen
a
on.
little bit ill is not enough to stop me in my tracks in my busy quest to bring knowledge and entertainment to the world.
Nice.
So, but having said that, it did mean I had to stay in one day, which was handy because I was waiting for a package.
Oh, yes.
One was a birthday present for my nephew, whose birthday was that day. And I thought, oh, goody, 8:00. Get an email. Your package is out for delivery. Wonderful. I thought, we'll drop that off. I'll write the card and bob up the road, and you'll have it when he gets into school. That wasn't quite how it planned out.
No.
Due to these new third-party courier services, which essentially people in cars who do a bit on the side after they come home from work. As it turned up at 7:45 in the evening.
Oh, fuck.
Which was bollocks. However, as well as the present, I did get something that I'd splashed out on recklessly, and that's the new Arrow Phantasm box set.
Oh,
which was far too expensive. But hey, if you know anything about quality film releases, you'll know that Arrow limited editions sell out darn quickly and soon go for double the price, and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Damn it! So
this wasn't a late night. This wasn't a late night, midnight sort of sleep Amazoning, was it?
It was. I saw it was out, and it hadn't sold out because previous ones, like the Videodrome one and the Hellraiser one, they'd actually sold out before it had even been released. And I thought, there's still some on Amazon. All right, I'll bag one. Bollocks to it. And so it's all 5 films, all fully restored, with a massive making of documentary, kind of like the Leviathan epic Hellraiser shit. And it came with a book written by Kim Newman.
Nice. Which
was very nice. And a replica Sentinel Sphere.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man.
So tomorrow I may well be able to get the black suit jacket on and do some tall man cosplay.
Nice.
And do some stupid posing with it.
Nice. I have a confession to make, actually, which is I've only ever seen the first 20 minutes of the first Phantasm.
Well, I've got a bigger confession to make.
Go on.
I've only seen the front cover of the DVD of the Phantasm box set. So, yeah, there you go.
Oh dear. Well, looks like that's the first of the Halloween movies sorted then, doesn't it?
I do actually have all four.
Yeah.
I think so. Is it four? Is it just four that came out, or
It's
is there
four,
four?
but there's a fifth one just came out.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, I've got the first four then. In that case, so I've never watched them. I've been meaning to sit down and see what all the fuss was about. So
Well, I tell you why. The reason I never saw them all the way through, or rather the first one all the way through, was because the trailer scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. And
Well, I remember I'm sure I saw the trailer for Phantasm at the same cinema trip where I first saw a trailer for Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
And I could have been some Disney film I'd gone to see, and whoever decided, let's stick on the Phantasm trailer in this show.
Yeah, went on to show Paranormal Activity when everyone thought they were getting frozen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was one of those things everyone talked about. Did you see that silver ball drill into that guy's head? In a scene that shouldn't have been in a trailer, really.
No. I always remember the bit. Yeah, the scene in the trailer always just shows someone sort of from the side, just suddenly doing a sort of flip forward as if they've been hit in the back of the head, and it's like, or is it the front of the head? I can't remember which way now. My memories are very vague on it. But yeah, well, there you go. That's the first of our 5 weeks of horror, I think.
It's a very strange film. It's a very strange film series, but
yeah,
that's part of their charm. Is that like the first one really does kind of get that mixing reality and dreams, and you don't know what's real, and it's kind of very. When I last watched it, I thought, bloody hell, the first Nightmare on Elm Street stole so much from this movie.
Oh, right. Okay.
Very good. And it's been pillaged by other people as well over the years. But it is kind of like, it still just really has something. And,
nice.
So I'm looking forward to sort of digging into that. And because Arrow always do brilliant extras as well, which is one of those things I thought. They always re-release them in like a more vanilla package that isn't as expensive, and you don't get the book or the sphere, but also they do pare back the extras as well. So I thought it's a lot of cash, but bollocks, I'm going to have it.
Yeah.
Can I ask something? In your opinion, Jim, who does the better box set, Arrow or Criterion?
It's a tough one. It's pretty. I mean, I think really it's probably horses for courses, really, in the fact that Criterion did do a lovely package with some very good extras. But you're more likely to find some sci-fi, fantasy, horror, cult films coming out on Arrow than you are on Criterion.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Criterion's more about the sort of collating of classics, isn't it, really?
Criterion editions are bloody good.
Yeah.
But I think, they've been going a while, and it's kind of Arrow kind of are looking to do for cult films what Criterion do for mainstream cinema. So
yeah.
Criterion's responsible for me not watching Brazil yet, because people keep going on about how the best cut of Brazil is Criterion. And so it's kind of like trying to find that, because every time I find a Blu-ray of it, it's the cheap one disc, no extras version.
Yeah, there's the version which is called the Love Will Conquer All version. I think that's the one you got to look out for.
That's the because it's the one that's a certain length, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hour and something.
Well, maybe maybe we'll have to do Brazil as well.
I think we should.
Oh boy. Yeah, there you go.
Nightmare City.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, yeah. So cool. Okay. Well, fair enough. Anything else, sir?
That's pretty it for my week, but I will just say what I've just seen pop up on my Twitter feed.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry to announce the director Jonathan Demme has passed away.
Oh.
Live and breaking.
Oh, Christ. Has he? Oh,
yep.
Silence of the Lambs. Stop talking. Right. Oh, was it the Talking Heads one as well, wasn't it? Stop Making Sense?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, well, there you go. not exactly a happy exclusive, but oh Christ!
No.
Oh well, way to go, Jim.
There we go. I just thought I'd share that, and I just popped up. Oh bloody hell!
Oh, God.
Way to bring it down, Jim.
Yeah. Well, he was. Hold on, I'm looking. I've just gone onto a website now. He was 73. Blimey.
Yeah, he started out with Roger Corman, another Corman alumni.
Yeah.
Joe Dante and Francis Ford Coppola. And...
Yeah, Philadelphia with Tom Hanks. Wow. Yeah, he's okay. Right. As ever, my obituary talking is shite, so I'll just leave it at that. But yeah. Oh wow. So he also he got Oscar for Silence of the Lambs, and he won Best Director for that. And the 2004 remake of The Manchurian Candidate, which I'm not entirely sure is a good one. But, 1984 he did Stop Making Sense with, Talking Heads. There you go, yeah. And documentary about Neil Young called Heart of Gold.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Which I haven't seen, but then I'm not the greatest Neil Young fan. But, that's sad news. Oh, well, bums. That's the official Blackdog line. Jonathan Demi's dead. Oh, bums. Probably not the thing he's after as an obituary, I think. But I'll leave it for other websites to do much better job. And probably stick Silence of the Lambs on the docket now, I guess.
Yeah, it should do, really.
Yeah, sounds like a good one. Okie dokie. Well, consider that done. Production meeting passed.
Hey.
Well, there you go. Moving on. Darren, how was your week? I won't ask Jonathan Demme how his week was.
No, don't do that.
No.
It's not going to end well.
No, Darren.
Right. Well, this week has been a bit of a film-going week for me this week.
Mm-hmm.
Seen two new films. I suppose the other one's a new one because I've never seen that before.
Yep.
So Friday, of course, joined your good self and Madame Lazelle to go and watch Free Fire, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later when it comes to your spot.
Yep.
But suffice to say, enjoyed it, but I think we were all of the opinion it was half an hour too long.
It was.
Yeah, it's a TV special, that one, for an hour's TV special. That's what that is.
I think that's a bit harsh, but yeah, I'll take your point. But yeah,
well, it's only 90 minutes long in total. But
yeah, fair enough.
But yes, we'll get onto that later.
Okay.
And so last week, you may remember that I said I was going to take Mum and Dad to see Fast and Furious 8.
Yes, you were going to, quote unquote, in inverted commas, doing finger marks in the air, ironically, take your mum and dad to see this.
No, I did though. I did. I honestly, I've actually got the time and thing recorded of the phone call that Mum gave me the other week.
Yeah.
So there we go. Some sort of recorded, a recording of the actual said conversation as well. If I go to T-Mobile or whatever they're bloody well called now, that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took them to see this. But before I went to see this, I actually did the unthinkable. I sat and I watched every single Fast and Furious film, from 1 right through to 7.
Oh my!
And I managed to finish 7 while I was sitting in the cinema waiting for number 8 to come on, and I finished it about 2 minutes before number 8 started rolling.
Oh my word!
So, and I have to say, if I've got to be totally honest, first 3 films, meh, really, nothing special at all. It's kind of like, well, they're not too offensive, but they're still better than quite a lot of crap I've seen on the cinema. And then from number 4, they actually started getting better, and I think it's because the batshit crazy stuff starts happening in them. So it gets a bit more fun with every watch, with every film.
Right, because that's the thing that I noticed on Facebook. Andy Palacides put down, that what we should do if we ever do a rewatch of these, not that I've ever watched more than one, but is we should watch one and then watch 8 and then try and work out how you get from guys boosting microwaves to racing the Red October on an ice rink.
It's gone from that. It's like, how do you get from there? And it is probably best to watch the film to see the gradual sort of craziness.
No, I quite like the idea of just going batshit for it. Just go watch the first one, watch the 8th one, and then just go, how do we get from a bald bloke nicking a toaster to now they're in tanks racing the Red October across the ice rink.
Indeed.
I think that's a good one.
I'll have to say, I'm glad I actually watched the other films before I saw 8, because this series, the actual Fast and Furious series, actually plays around in its own universe quite well. It actually gives callback to a lot of stuff, and you realise that it doesn't actually treat the films, unlike some of this sort of some franchises that are based on sort of like very light and fluffy things. This actually refers back to stuff that's already happened. So these films are just not throwaway; they're actually part of a proper series.
They're not throwaway.
What? No, look, come on. Each episode is not just throwaway like something would be. They're not disconnected films. It's not just like push the restart button or anything like that. They actually do, they go back and they refer to stuff that's happened in films before. People show up from various different episodes. Characters come back.
Okay. I want to know one thing.
Yeah.
Who are you and what have you done with real Darren?
No, I'm going on my feelings as I was watching them. I actually, as I say, I started actually enjoying them from about 4 onwards. Even though there's stuff that happens in 1 to 3 that is relevant to the rest of the series as well. 4 is where I think the fun in this series starts to happen.
So hold on. So now all of a sudden the idea of a rewatch doesn't bother you as much?
No, it doesn't actually.
Hell holds no terrors for him anymore.
This is it. It's kind of like I've seen a lot worse. I've not seen anything. I've seen just as much crazy shit in some of the later James Bond films from the earlier period. Not the Craig stuff, but it's like, well, really. I think these films get a bad name because of who's in it.
Okay.
Like I say, when the secret agent stuff starts coming into it, when they start doing that, then for me, they got a lot more fun to watch.
Well, that wasn't what I was expecting, I'll be honest with you, when you said to me that you'd be doing this.
No, and I thought, the only thing, you can play a drinking game with this, and it tells things like every time Vin Diesel mentions how important family is to him, because family is important. Oh, by the way, family is important to me. Did I tell you?
Yeah.
Family's important to me. Or should I say, family's important to me. Sorry, Vin?
Yeah.
What was...
Pardon? Yeah.
Yep. Pardon? And that's another thing as well, right?
Yeah. What? Oh, he's gone. No.
Oh, bloody hell.
No.
Hello there.
Hello.
Sorry about it. I've got to watch this. We do it just so that everybody knows. I'm actually using the Xbox to speak. So what I've got to do is I've got to move my controller once every 5 minutes. Otherwise, the bastard thing goes off.
Oh God, yes. So if your controller.
Hold on, I have to play 3 rounds of Dead Island. Stay there.
Oh Christ. No, it couldn't go perfectly, could it?
No, it couldn't. It couldn't. No, not at all. But this is still better than what we had yesterday.
Yeah, which was fuck all.
So, there you go.
Okay.
So yeah, Fast and Furious 8. I actually really enjoyed, and like I say, an awful lot of fun. Doesn't take too much thinking about, and just gets on with it. Lots of crazy stunts. Especially the bit with the submarine as well. Jesus fucking H Christ. That's Yeah.
Eat your heart out, Stingray.
Yeah.
Exactly. It gets so ridiculous that you just give up in the end. It's just like, oh, fuck it, whatever.
Just sit back and just
surrender.
Exactly. That's it. I'm done.
Just sit back and cry.
So, like I said on my Facebook wall, in the next film, if I don't see Vin Diesel cutting donuts in a Star Destroyer with Godzilla riding a shotgun, then I'm going to be so fucking disappointed. I'm going to want my money back, because that's the only place they can take this now. That level of crazy.
Well, I was going to say, I've been seeing a lot of people saying they're going to be taking him into. Well, they're going to be they're pretty much all but taking him into space at this point.
Oh yes, they've listened to me. Oh. The director's read my fucking Facebook feed. Fantastic.
Fast and the Furious. Oh yeah.
Versus Leprechaun.
Right? Because every single one of them has got a different title at the beginning for the film. Slightly different. They'll remove the or something. But the next one will be called The Force and the Furious. You watch.
Fast and the Furry Arse. And it'll be set in a cosplay with a bunch of furries.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I dreadfully suspect someone already done that.
Oh, God.
On a
I'm sure.
label.
There's a special channel out there.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah, Rule 34.
Last film I watched this week is the Lonely Island film. One that they brought out. Being a Lonely Island fan, had to check it out. Blu-ray was on sale for about £7 in HMV.
Yeah.
It's called Popstar. Never Stop, Never Stopping. And it's sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to. Oh, right, go on.
Yeah, it's a mockumentary about a Justin Bieber stroke Justin Timberlake style pop star. And I really enjoyed it. The songs are absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's typical sort of Lonely Island quality.
Oh, right.
The songs.
Yeah.
And the Blu-ray's packed with so much stuff. It's got loads of you catch like videos during the film. They show you sort of like clips of them and stuff like that, but they do the full things on the Blu-ray as well. There's I mean, I took a chance with this. I thought this is either going to be really, really shit, or I'm really, really going to enjoy it, because you know what it's like. Somebody brings out a parody these days, and a lot of the time it falls flat. Yeah, but I'm glad to say no. This one actually had me giggling all the way through.
Oh, okay.
So cool. It's not going to beat Spinal Tap, but I think it sits alongside it. You know,
those are strong words.
Yeah, I don't like I say, it's not going to beat Spinal Tap, because Spinal Tap is the ultimate rock comedy, the ultimate music comedy as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So yeah, this is still good though.
Okay. Cool. All right then. Well, yeah. I mean, onto my one. My week. Well, let's do the film first. I mean, yeah, I did. We did go with you and Sarah to see Free Fire, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed a lot, and there's a great bunch of gags with John Denver.
Yes.
You filled up my senses.
Brilliant. Finally, Denver gets the recognition he deserves.
Exactly. And a gag that actually was in some ways so subtle that you guys only kind of twigged it after I pointed it out.
You told us about it. I hadn't even spotted it, but I didn't realise. I really didn't. But yeah, we won't spoil it for other people.
No, I mean most people. Well, I don't know about how many people have spotted it, but if you want to know what it is, watch very closely the last time you hear it.
The last time you hear the John, is it Annie's song?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
yeah.
So the last time you hear that. Anyway, so I enjoyed it. I as much as it sounds like cliche, it sags in the middle, where once everything kicks off into one big fight, it's like, okay, what's going on now? And then you kind of have a little bit of a lull, and then it kind of picks up again towards the end. But so I mean, it isn't 30 minutes too long, but it is definitely too long. It feels like it sags in the middle, not enough to kind of uphold the gag. which essentially is the naked gun gag of having two guys standing behind either side of a bin shooting at each other. Really, that's essentially the entire film. And it's got a nice line in insults and generally swearing at each other, so I did appreciate that as well.
Yes.
What else then? I got on the video game side of things. I'm now playing Dishonored 2 rather, right. Dishonored 2, which is great if you like teleporting around, picking people up, freezing time, smashing them all around, then unfreezing time, and watching hundreds of people fly through the air. That's great fun. In a sort of steampunky world, very good fun there. Much better than the games I traded in for it. And I'm not going to mention that thing again. And then I went down to Bristol on Monday, and I don't know. Hold on a second. I think I might need this.
Yeah, put the music on. Go on, do it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Bom, bom, bom,
no.
Boom. Or is it the Hobbit music?
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, it's more like this. I think it's bound to be the bloody Wix theme, isn't it? Oh, here we go. No, there we go. Right. So there we go. So basically went down to Bristol, and that was pretty straightforward, and was there for a couple of big meetings and appraisal and stuff, and won't go into all that business. But what really was a problem was trying to get back home. And what happened was we stayed for a drink after a big load of meetings, and I thought, oh well, this is all good, and we were going to I got a cab back to the train station, and I'm like, oh well, this is all cool. I've had a nice time, met all my work colleagues, sat and had a good chat with Rob about some stuff and some films and things, and it was all good. And then I got to the station, and I'd missed one train, and the next one wouldn't be until 10 to 10 in the evening. And I thought, go on.
No, go on. No, I'm just saying. Right. This is where the trouble begins.
Yeah. So then I'm waiting for this train, and then it has been literally like an hour, 2 hours, something like that. And then I've got my headphones on, and I'm playing some music, listening to some lovely readings from Mr. Jim, talking about misty monsters in a house, which was very good. I like that one. And then my headphones started to fail, and I can always tell because it starts to go where it's not picking things up. And I got on the train thinking, oh well, never mind. Maybe I'll get a little bit of sound out, and that'll be fine. And then I noticed the hen weekend.
Oh.
Now they had obviously been here all weekend, because the stuff they were saying was just like, oh God, everything from, oh, we ain't got any knickers on, oh God, we've been working some length this weekend, haven't we, Sandra? Kind of thing. And so we all got on the train, and I'm down one end of the train, and I can still hear them, and my headphones are like, and it's like, oh no, I'm gonna have to listen to them all. So anyway, I'm like, oh, okay, right, fine. I know what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to literally go somewhere else. And I walk down one end of the train, and it's all like, oh, you can't have headphones. This is all super secret area. Quiet carriage. And I thought, I could try that, but I want to still wear my headphones. So I went down the other end, and I thought, actually, there's no one in first class. So I sat down in first class, and I'm thinking, that's great. And the train starts to speed up. I can still hear them coming through the carriage behind, but it's better. It's manageable. And I'm on the train. And the train, clearly the train driver was in a bit of a hurry. And he he obviously put the rockets on. And I sort of thought, well, I know what I'm going to do. I need to go for a wee. And I got up, and I went down the carriage. And there was the toilet, and I got in the toilet. And let's just say the toilet glistened on every surface. And so I was like, Oh, I don't know about that. So I'm going to have to stand up and, do my business. But the problem is, have you ever tried, I don't know, have you ever tried basically standing on a seesaw while standing in the middle of a seesaw while two people shake the seesaw and then do that inside a cardboard box? And because that's what it's like trying to go for a whiz on in a Great Western Railway toilet, which is already 90% full of water. And you can't touch anything. You don't want to touch anything. And this thing's kind of rattling me around, and I'm fucking cocks going everywhere, the wheeze flying all over the place. I'm fucking I'm battering around inside this thing, going, oh fucking hell! And the train's literally getting faster and faster. And I thought, this is how I end. This is it. I'm going to be found with my cock hanging out, pissing onto the ceiling.
Did you learn nothing from Armstrong and Miller?
No.
Have you ever tried to take a shit on a train? Flip! That one.
No, I've never seen that one, but we'll...
Oh, look it up on YouTube. Right? It's these two Victorian gentlemen, and they do like a music thing. And they do this little dum-da-dum-da-dum, and it just starts off and goes, have you ever tried to take a shit on a train? And it just suddenly cuts.
Well, that might be our play-out tune.
Lovely.
Yeah, so I ended up rattling around, and there was pee everywhere. I thought, this is it. The train's going to come off the rails, and when it comes off the rails and they find like the bodies scattered everywhere, there's going to be a scattered hen weekend, and then one bloke just covered in like 60 people's urine, trapped in a box with a look on his face, going up against the window. Yeah,
man,
that was fun. But anyway, after that, I just had to get tubes across town, and then I got through London, and it was like absolutely abandoned. It was like 28 days later, there was nothing around, and I was on the tube, and nothing is scarier than getting off the tube at Charing Cross, and it's all quiet, and there's no one around it, and you're just sort of like, I shouldn't be thinking of American Werewolf right now. I really shouldn't. But
Isn't that Tottenham Court Road?
Yeah, that was Tottenham Court Road, the old Tottenham Court Road. But still, you got that whole thing of there's a big long escalator up to the surface, isn't there? And I'm like, and you know that thing you do when you walk and you suddenly getting nervous. Now my headphones don't work at all.
Yeah.
So now you start talking to yourself. And obviously I'm dripping in piss anyway, and walking around going, well, a bit cold, well, you never mind, and nobody round to see, and you can hear the trains from very far away going,
yeah,
and it's like, I'm not thinking about the sounds coming up behind me, I'm just going to carry on up the stairs. Walking very fast, but I'm not really running. I'm going to climb the stairs in threes. I know it's an escalator, but it doesn't really matter. I've already got my ticket out. I'm going through the barrier. I'm not going to stop. And yeah, I walked out to Charing Cross, and the only thing that greeted me was someone lying across the sort of gap with a puddle of sick and a couple of policemen.
Lovely.
Lovely. That was great. Yeah, so then I got home, and by the time I got home, it was about 2:00 in the morning. So yesterday when it was, yesterday, well, it was like we're all having trouble with the Skype. I'm like, actually, this is good. I can catch up on some sleep now because my hands are crushed because it was so fucking cold.
Hasn't it been though? It's like, we're fucking spring now. Come on.
Yeah, actually, it does feel like
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. I feel like Ian Holm in sort of like, what's that bloody film? Day After Tomorrow. All sitting around having a hot mug of cocoa as the super icy thing that's sucking vacuum down to the earth.
That's right. Yeah, the super freeze goes across.
Yeah,
the UK.
We will have to do that. We may have to do a shit science month.
Well, we could do that. We could do San Andreas as well. Is it Disaster?
Disaster. There you go.
Disaster.
Yeah, we can follow on from Angela Lansbury's Apocalypse Month.
Yeah, we've had to change that, by the way. It shouldn't be Angela Lansbury's. It should be Jessica Fletcher.
Jessica Fletcher.
Jessica Fletcher is the name of her character in Murder, She Wrote.
Okay.
So, yes, it needs to be Jessica Fletcher's Guide to the Apocalypse.
Jessica Fletcher's Guide to the Apocalypse. Right, okay, we'll see.
Coming soon, folks.
Yeah, you're going to love it. Well, actually, you won't, but there you go. Anyway, yeah, so, I had a shit time getting home, but, it was a good time when I was there in Bristol, so that was cool. That's about it, really. That was the other thing. I accepted, just to make it official, I accepted Elton's offer, didn't I? Do you remember that, Dal? That thing that Elton... Offer. Yeah, we're going to go and see Covenant.
Oh, yes. I'll come along to that.
Yeah.
I did actually watch the little prequel movie today. Have you seen that? They've released it's a 5-minute film, and it actually tells you what happens to Michael and Numi Rapace's character from the last film.
Okay. Don't tell me another word. Not a thing. No, because the thing is, at the moment, I'm still like I said last week or the week before, but the world has gone so back to front, up and down.
Yep. Things
going wrong that I'm not entirely sure that this will be a bad film. So I'm just going to I don't know what to think anymore. Like I say, bad Mass Effect games, good fucking my friend liking Fast and the Furious.
What is that all about?
Yeah, what is that all about? I mean, the whole fucking world, dogs and cats living together. So, Doctor Who not getting moaned about online. I mean, it's just nothing seems to be right anymore. So I don't know. So when Elton said, "Oh, shall we go and see it and do a mini-sode?" I was like, "Okay, fine. In for a penny, in for a pound. Why not?" So that's coming soon, everyone. Prepare yourselves for that. So, anyway, so that's about it, really. Elton's doing Lisa some claws for Comic-Con as well. That's Elton's thing. Yeah, he's already made them. So she's going to go as X-23, and I'm going to go as Old Man Logan.
Brilliant.
So I'm growing my beard out, and I'm just going to break out my old wedding suit, just so I look rumpled and slightly like a chauffeur from rubbed out chauffeur, and just cover some fake blood over a shirt, and I think I'm done.
Yeah, I think you are.
There you go. Job's a good one. So and that'll be at the end of this month, won't it? End of May.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Cool.
I'm preparing my costumes. I've got a new one this year, so.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Don't tell us anything. We'll see the photos, I'm sure.
Oh yes, indeed.
Excellent. Right. Okay. Well, enough of this rambling.
One more thing we must announce.
Oh, very good point.
Yes.
Very good point. Yes. If you got this far in this ramble and haven't skipped forward to the review, Shindig, the Blackdog Shindig number 8.
Like Fast and Furious.
Oh, no, it's nothing like Fast and Furious.
Honestly, folks, we're getting chased out of the pub by a big submarine.
Yeah. Getting chased around the pub by a submarine. Yeah. So yes. On Saturday the 9th of September, if you can hear this, then you are invited. Basically, Saturday 9th of September, Shindig 8, starting our 9th year. Yeah,
indeed it is.
It'll be our and it's actually on our anniversary because the first episode of the Blackdog came out on the 9th of September.
Indeed.
So there you go.
There we go.
So 9th of September, a proper anniversary at 6 o'clock at the Nelly Dean in Soho. If you go onto the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Blackdog Podcast, do check out, if you're on there, you can see the details on the events page. And be good to see you. And if you've never been before, all you just need to know is you turn up, we all have a drink, and
touch Elton's head and go home.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, normally. Yeah,
that's tradition now.
Yeah, usually apart from that, usually there's at least someone insulting me, and I think occasional occurrences of Mr. Owl.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. And, booze flows and discussion and chat and everything. And, so from 6 o'clock, Nelly Dean in Soho, Saturday, September the 9th. Be there or don't.
It's also, just so that people know, it's the upstairs bar, and it's from 6 o'clock onwards.
Yeah, I did say 6.
Did you say it? Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. My apologies. But yeah, the upstairs bar.
What do I pay you? What do I pay you for?
You come early and have a pie if you like. They do very good pies at Nelly Dean.
Oh, yeah, they do. They do very good pies. Yes, there you go. Cool. So maybe see you there. Otherwise, see you whenever. There was also some weird Pokemon stuff going on as well, but we won't. I don't know whether or not that'll be there this time. So anyway, yes. So the Blackdog Shindig. Find all the details out on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Blackdog Podcast. And I will be tweeting the same details nearer the time, and I will also put it up on the on blackdogpodcast.com as well nearer the time. Right. Okay. So now it's time for us to start our first of our Conservatory season, which is Bill Nighy and Michael Sheen's lovely Underworld edition double dorme.
Today Everest is transforming this home with an Everest hardwood conservatory. It's all precision cut in our workshops to ensure a perfect fit every time. This is timber framed, but you can also have UPVC or aluminium. It's up to you. You can even have glass that cleans itself. How cool is that? And the best bit? It's all designed around you. And did you know Everest's best ever windows now come in wood as well? Now, be honest, you didn't expect Everest to be doing that today, did you?
No, we didn't expect that. Not really a jingle so much as a mission statement there. Anyway, so, yes, Underworld, the first of our Conservatory season, it's a 2003 action horror film directed by Len Wiseman and written by Danny McBride. Now, I'm not entirely sure that's the same Danny McBride, not the guy who's in Eastbound and Down. It's a completely different Danny McBride.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, it's based on the story by McBride and Kevin Griveau, and Len Wiseman. The film centers on a secret history of vampires and lichens, abbreviated from lycanthrope, which, according to the helpful wiki, means werewolf. Did you know that, Jim?
A slight inkling.
Anyway, it's the first installment of the Underworld franchise, and the main plot revolves around Celine, Kate Beckinsale, and a vampire death dealer hunting lichens. She finds herself attracted to a human, Michael Corvin, played by Scott Vacuum Speedman, who is targeted by the lichens. After Michael is bitten by a lichen, Celine must decide whether to do her duty and kill him or go against her clan and save him. Alongside Kate Beckinsale and Speedman, the film stars Michael Sheen and Bill Nighy and Shane Brolly. Oh God, yeah.
Is he playing Michael Sheen's forehead?
I think he's the guy who looked like he should have been in a sort of mid-90s rock band. It's
all of them, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know the shootout in the train station?
Yeah.
I could have sworn I saw Dean Gaffney in that as well.
Dean Gaffney
as one of the other vampire death dealers. I thought that's fucking Gaffney. There he is.
There he is. Gets in everywhere. You can't look under the table without seeing a Dean Gaffney floating about. Anyway, Google it, by the way. Yes. Upon its release, the film received generally negative reviews from critics. A small number of reviewers praised elements such as the stylish gothic visuals and the icy English composure of star Kate Beckinsale, and the extensively worked on vampire mythology, werewolf mythology, which serves as the film's backstory. It was a surprise hit. It had a budget of 22 million and yet made, Jim?
90 million?
Okay, right. Darren?
I'd say 50 million.
Well, Jim is not far off. It's 95 million.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. The film was subject to copyright infringement lawsuits filed by White Wolf and Nancy A. Collins, both claiming the setting was too similar to the Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse games, both which were set in the World of Darkness, and also too close to the Sonia Blue vampire novels. White Wolf filed 17 counts of copyright infringement and claimed over 80 points of unique similarity between the game's system. And White Wolf Inc. also said the script was very similar to the storyline entitled The Love of Monsters, which was released in 1994, which was also written and published by Nancy Collins. In September 2003, the judge granted White Wolf an expedited hearing, and the lawsuit ended in a confidential settlement. That's all you got to say about that.
Coughed up.
Yes,
That's what that means.
They coughed up, and they didn't want to admit it publicly. As of this year, Underworld maintains a sparkling 31% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. With the site consensus reading that although it's stylish to look at, Underworld is tedious and derivative. Roger Ebert was reported as saying, "This is a movie so paltry in its characters and shallow in its story that the war seems to exist primarily to provide visuals." However, some critics were more favourable. New York Daily News praised it as being stylish, cruel and mighty entertaining for certain covens out there, while Salon magazine reviewer Andrew
Salon? Was that a hairdressing magazine?
Yep, it is. Andrew O'Hare. Andrew O'Hare, not a pseudonym at all, honestly, Gov, gave the mixed criticism praise by saying, by any reasonable standard, this dark vampire epic, all massive overacting cologne commercial design and sexy catsuits sucks. But that at least it gives a crap, conceding that the movie, despite the movie's flaws, the complex vampire werewolf mythology backstory had been meticulously worked out. That's about it. That's the entire thing. That's the entire wiki.
Wow.
Barring the plot itself, which I'm not going to read out. So, Jim.
Yes.
Over to you, sir. You can put on the hobnail boots and take the first run up.
Right, then.
Over to you.
Well, I'd seen this film once before, and I would say it had improved on the second viewing.
Yeah.
That was because the first time I watched it, it was still in the days where we had square tellies at home, big boxes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Oh yes.
And
4x3.
And I think it was an early. It might even been on. No, it would have been. I think it would have been DVD, but it was pan and scan anyway. And watching it on a really big telly in full widescreen, I thought actually the film looked a lot better than I remembered it. But that's the managing of pan and scan. Make everything look badly shot just by chopping off the size of the picture. Bollocks to you all.
That's right.
But kind of, I watched this, and it really, really just confounds me, this film. I thought it looked better the second time around, but in every other regard, my reaction was exactly the same. It was kind of sound of an airplane going over my head. And I was watching it this time, and I was thinking, okay, it's very stylized.
Yep.
The sets look good. In fact, some bloody good sets.
Yep.
It's nice costumes.
Yep.
It's got a really weighty cast. It's got proper actors in it. It's got lots of action in it. It's got a very complicated, mythology and a world it's building. And I couldn't give a flying fuck at a donut. And it was I was just, why is this leaving me just so utterly cold? Just not connecting whatsoever. It's kind of like, if you're really, really kind of ill or hungover and you're just watching the TV, and it might as well be in Swahili.
Yeah.
If you've ever been really badly jet lagged and the world stops making sense. That's kind of like what I had watching Underworld. Just kind of, I should be getting more out of this. But it's just not landing. It's not connecting at all. And it's kind of, that's what started to really bother me, because it's kind of, I can't work out what's wrong with it. Because normally you can watch, you watch a film and there's a point where you'll go along with the film and it loses you.
Yeah.
Underworld never landed a blow on me. It just sat there. Him and it was there on the screen.
Yeah.
I was there on the sofa. We stared at each other for 2 hours and then said, "Okay, let's not see each other again." It was like going to a prison. You know what I mean? Where you're on the other side of a big bit of security glass and the little phone on the side doesn't work. It was really bizarre. But normally you can see a film going, "Oh, well, it's appallingly acted," or "It looks terrible," or "The director's just basically, bunged a camera in a bag and swung it round his head," or "The plot's nonsense," or "The effects are bad," or there's something that you got that where it doesn't work for you. With Underworld, I don't know why it doesn't work for me. I think maybe it's because everything's maybe so blue, it just froze my brain. I don't know. It's kind of, I can't actually. I've seen things that are far stupider, far worsely made, and I've enjoyed them. And yet, Underworld, woof, nothing.
Yeah, it fails to elicit even the most rudimentary of emotions.
It's one of the stranger viewing experiences I've had in quite a while. And I remember the first time I saw it around somebody's house, and he had some friends from home up visiting. One of which was this little quiet Welsh lad. And I remember the film finished, and this lad showed up in this soft, dulcet Welsh, and he goes, "That was strange. It looked like a good film, but it was all shite." And I concur. But the thing is, I still don't understand why.
Yeah. You guys, hello? Sorry, Dal?
I said tagline.
Yeah.
On the poster.
That's it. That's on the poster, yeah. Yeah. That was strange. It was shite, and I don't know why. That's lovely. That's just that. I think that sums it up. I think we can just stop right there. Move on to the feedback.
Yep. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Jobs are good, and let's all go home. Yeah. So, anything else? Sir? I don't know.
I'm almost tempted to watch it again to see if anything else out of it. It's just really, I'm not actually perplexed by it. It should be it should be a topping in Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World.
Oh God, yeah.
Although that old fucker wouldn't give you a conclusion at the end. He always copped out, the fucking lazy bastard on the beach. But anyhow,
yeah, exactly. Wandering around with his.
Well, maybe not. I don't care. I got a shitload of cash. Where's a young boy I can bugger? Fuck off. Yeah, that's it. Allegedly.
Yeah, for legal reasons, Arthur C. Clarke is absconded to Sri Lanka, which has much laxer deportation laws. Anyway, extradition laws. Yeah, okay then. Well, I tell you what then. Shall we move on to Darren first?
I might have some sort of insomnia flashback later on.
Yeah, I was going to say, and see how it plays out, and because I was trapped on the train down to Bristol with this thing. So I know where I'm going with this. So I had plenty of time to study. So Darren, over to you, mate.
Yes, Underworld. Well, what can I say apart from I was bored shitless watching this film. I was bored shitless the first time I watched it, and I was bored shitless again. I really was. Not even Kate Beckinsale's shiny ass could save this one for me.
But it wasn't even a lot of it, was there?
There wasn't, was there? No. There were one or two kind of like, this is shot by her future husband.
Yes.
Type shots.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see where this is going. There's stuff in it that I just didn't get. It's like, so let me get this straight. You've got Michael Sheen's character, and you've got this woman that he gets with, and they have a child. And it's like, let's just stop that right there. A werewolf and a vampire. Okay, let's even take the werewolf out of it. But let's put any old Joe Bloggs in a situation plus vampire.
Yeah.
A vampire getting pregnant. Really?
Shut up, that's why.
It's like, I'm thinking, right, okay, if you're telling me that in this universe, vampires are not actually dead. They're an actual race of born beings, and this is how they go. And this is a new take on the whole vampire thing. Then fine, I've got no problem with that. But fuck it, it's not.
No,
it's like they're all undead. So how can she get pregnant?
Reasons. Look over there, donkey.
Donkey. So automatically, I'm watching that, and it's like, so whatever it is you've been trying to tell me in this film, it's total bollocks anyway, because you've just fallen over at that hurdle there.
Pretty much. It's definitely. I don't think it is it even worth considering the impact upon vampire and lycanthrope lore, Jim? Or should we not even bother with that?
Just don't start.
I don't know of any other film apart from maybe Hotel Transylvania, but that's a kids animated film.
Yeah,
where vampires have ever given birth. You know.
Oh no! There's another one, and we've watched it on this show.
Yeah.
You've got to remember the blue Cornish pisky vampire babies spawned by Dracula in Van Helsing.
Oh, fuck off! Just you had to open your mouth and utter those words, didn't you, Jim?
If I didn't, someone on the Facebook group would have chirped up. So.
Yeah,
get yourself some carbolic acid or fucking wash that mouth out now.
Yeah,
what's his name? Frothy, the cleaning stuff, whatever they call it. Have some of that as well. Make sure and scrub your mouth with a wire brush and Dettol.
Yeah, I have to concur. There's a solid fuck you for reminding me of that, Jim.
Do you hate us, Jim? Do you hate us? I mean, we bring you onto this podcast. Let you join in the Blackdog family, and then you become one of us, and then you stab us in the back by mentioning that fucking film.
Yeah, you made me watch it again.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
I made you do nothing. You were made to do nothing. You could have feigned it. You could have said, "Oh, I've got some books to read that week."
Yeah, I've got death to happen.
Yeah, I've got a penile scraping to have done. I can't do this now.
Anyway,
so yeah, Underworld is shit. It does have some very nice sets, costumes, and all that business. But I'm afraid it looks like a bunch of vampire LARPers turning up at someone's house for a live role playing, and not a very good bunch of vampire LARPers either.
No, not really.
Yeah, exactly. They're all sat there, just I don't know. Well, it's always that same bunch sitting in the same chairs. No matter when she appears, they're all still sat there.
Yeah, well, it's the same scene played 3 times from the same camera angle, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think it's like over the space of a week, and it's like you haven't gone home yet, have you? You've got nowhere to go. You've got no friends. You're all fucking sad. Billy fucking no mates, every single fucking one of you, aren't you?
Yeah, but they're all coven. That's what it is. They're a coven.
There's something at the beginning we see, but it ain't coven. It sounds a bit like coven.
Yeah, well, something. Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it's I got bored, so bored watching it. I really was. It was just. Do you know what? I fell asleep through part of it right at the beginning. Oh no, it was about an hour into it. I fell asleep, and I woke up and I looked at the time and I looked at how far the film had gone on, and I thought, sweet zombie Jesus, thank you very much. But then it's like, the honor in me said, no, you must watch this bit you've missed. I didn't even take myself out. And then I fell asleep again at the same part. I mean, fucking hellfire.
That's your body.
I had to rewind it 3 times.
Nice. Oh.
Fuck me. Seriously.
Oh, dear, yeah.
And let's talk about the weapons.
Oh, please, right? Yeah.
Let's talk about the guns at these death dealers. I mean, the whole fucking battle's a bit one-sided anyway, right? Because it seems that the vampires go down, and this is how I don't understand the vampires are winning. because they folded like a fucking £5 note. Every single fucking one of them. One slice and they're all gone.
Yeah. I didn't quite get that. Yeah.
You know, the werewolves, they get sort of like plugged with these bullets and stuff. I'm assuming they're silver bullets or whatever they were firing them. Even the liquid silver bullets, the liquid nitrate, silver nitrate, they fired at them, didn't take them out of the game.
No, they did. Well, you had blooming Michael Sheen. He just kind of looks like he's straining on the loo, and then it just all falls out of him. So
it was the David Tennant era school of writing for fucking vampires. That's what it was. Because look, the doctor's just about to regenerate. Oh no, I'm not. I don't feel like it. I'm just gonna insert this into the fucking mythology right now because it's fucking convenient.
It's handy.
Yeah, because I wanted you to go, oh, look, they're doing something dangerous in Doctor Who. But no, we're not really.
No. Well, don't worry. We'll get that again, I'm sure, before the end of this season. Ooh.
Yeah, so he didn't feel like dying, so he just didn't.
Yeah, he changed his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, shall I do my bit, my one?
Just to finish off, Underworld can go fuck off. Just go fuck off and just fucking get on the bus. Fuck off on the bus.
Fuck off
get
that
on
way.
the train. Fuck off on the train. Okay, and when you come all the way back round the world, back to where you began, you can fuck off some more.
Yeah, keep fucking off.
Keep fucking off. Just make it. Here we go. We'll build you a Snowpiercer type train that goes around the world, and you can just eternally fuck off all the time.
Continually fuck off in a straight line.
Yes, in a straight line.
And because I haven't really mentioned it, what did you guys think of Bill Nighy's Conservatory winning performance?
What are that?
What was that?
Do you know what I've seen? When he did that, it just reminded me of my cat hacking up a hairball.
Yeah,
because my cat's done that before.
Yeah,
you know, every once in a while, Jess will sit there and go. Yep, that just reminded me of Jess the cat.
So was it worth the full extra set of blinds that he obviously got in with that? Or...
Well, I think he did quite well. He played a very cunning kind of a performance where he sort of blended into the background as much as he possibly could.
Yeah.
So that after 15 minutes after you're watching it, you probably forgot he was in it.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. And then all of a sudden there'll be a bit where she walks in to see him, and it's like, he's in this.
Oh yes, he is. Oh,
yeah. Oh dear.
When did you turn up?
Bill, what are you doing here?
Fuck it, yeah. So it can fuck off.
Okay, fair enough. My impression, well, like I say, I was stuck on the train going down to Bristol with this thing, and the thing that got me this time round, I mean, the first time I ever watched it, all I did was just sit there and heckle it, and so because it was so close to The Matrix in terms of style and all the shootout in the train station and.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it's easy to just see black neoprene and just go, "Oh, look, hang on, this is The Matrix because it's got black neoprene in it," which isn't actually the case. But it was the fact that it suddenly turns into this big gunfight inside a train station, which is the only thing in the entire film which is tinted slightly green, and. It immediately invites those kind of comparisons. And so I'm like, okay, fine. And I as soon as I started, and last time I watched it, all I did was just kept looking at it going, you're just copying this, you're just copying that, you're just copying something else. And I was really, that's all I had. I just had this kind of constant feeling that all I was doing was just watching someone basically just rip off a load of other films, and it felt very. And that's why Len Wiseman and Paul W. Sanderson sort of, in my mind, become one in the same, because they are just two guys who make a film story and then just rip off a number of other films to actually make the visuals. And this time round, once I got past that, I thought, no, stop looking at it and going, oh, Matrix Reloaded, oh, Matrix, just stop doing that, because all that Baroque stuff, and as soon as you say, I think, I think so. Sorry?
Kate Beckinsale in the house, by any chance?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Kate Beckinsale's just arrived. Hello, Kate, are you there? Yeah. Go and make us a cup of tea, love, all right? You just go off that way? Yeah. Thanks very much for that. Yeah. But this time round, what I found was that it was extremely, extremely dull. And the problem was not that there wasn't enough story in it or anything like that, but what happens is everything is loaded up at the front. And it literally does. It gives you the story, the plot, it gives you all the characters, it gives you a back history and everything. And I looked at and I felt like I'd been watching it for hours, and I tapped it. I tapped the old iPhone, and I looked at the time, and it only said about 12 minutes.
Oh, man.
I was like, fuck me. We've had a fight in a train station. We've identified the Lycans. We've given you all the back history between the werewolves and the vampires. We've given you Scott Speedman looking slightly slouchy, walking around and being a medic. And then we've had dodgy-looking bloke from Prison Break and The Flash with his big, tall hair and, going, I'm a medic, and then there's a mystery, and it all just gets bundled up in the first, like I say, about the first 12 to 15 minutes. And as soon as that happens, the film's got nothing to do for the rest of it. You've got this guy, what was it, Craven, John Craven's news round, floating about, kind of going, oh, how dare you do this to me, how dare you disrespect me, and how dare you do this and that and the other, there's rules and all this kind of thing, and you will be my bride. And you're like, right, all lovely, but what is the actual thing here? There's no actual story progression. He's just sitting there being sulky. Sulky McSulky is sulky, and when it becomes apparent that actually he was the one who killed the big bad, that doesn't even become a big thing, because it's literally the big bad's name, Michael Sheen. His name is dropped as soon as he appears. So when it becomes apparent that they're working together and that Lucien isn't dead, you've already had this whole thing of Craven was the only person to have killed Lucien, and you're like, No, I've just seen him. He's over there.
He's over there with his big shiny forehead.
Yeah,
didn't you miss him?
Yeah, with his big shiny forehead, looking like someone's punched him in the eyes and he hasn't got enough sleep. And it's like, hang on, so and then it takes like nearly an hour to have that conspiracy theory, which you've worked out in about the first 15 minutes of the film. That's now got to play itself out for another hour, and it was just literally like, oh my god, oh my eyes are having trouble focusing. Why is this train not going faster? And then on top of that, you got, as you say, Darren, the weapons in this are only as powerful as they need to be for the plot to happen.
Indeed.
1 minute it's a silver bullet that can take people out. Next minute, it's a silver bullet that can be squeezed out. And then the next minute, it's a silver bullet filled with silver. It's like Exhibit. It's like, I heard you like silver, so I silvered your silver with your silver bullet, silvered in your silver, because you are Phil Silvers.
And get your picture of Exhibit, okay, when you do that.
Yeah. I heard you...
I was
Go on.
Flashback.
Yeah.
When they have the scene where they're examining the new super duper gun the Lycans have.
Yeah.
That have like ultraviolet bullets.
Yes.
Where did they get these from? I did shout, they stole them from Blade 2.
That's right. They nicked them from Blade 2. The ultraviolet bullets. And it's like, I mean, the thing with that, even worse, is the fact that it's so stupid, because what happens is they pick up one of these bullets, which is shining ultraviolet light. they are actually holding them, looking through the glassy bit at the shiny blue light. And you're like, isn't that the ultraviolet that kills you? And you're holding it in your hands. And
I too have an acid flashback.
Go on in.
Okay, just a quick mention, because I did sort of like put this on my Facebook wall as well. Did you notice that when everybody tried to speak, they always spoke like this? They were very quiet. And then you turn the TV right up so you can listen to them. And then somebody breaks wind, and then you can hear the windows in the fucking upstairs flat rattle because your TV's that fucking loud.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, okay, okay, turn it right up. Oh shit!
Then Kate walks into a room, and all of a sudden, every single glass in your fucking drinks cabinet just explodes.
Exactly. And then, on top of that, it was like you sort of, so as soon as that starts to happen, you start to go, well, they're not even consistent with their own rules. You know, they're vampires. They hate sunlight. They hate garlic. They hate running water, except when they're in the rain, and except when they're chasing lichens down a sewer, and then when they're standing in a house and they can see themselves in reflections.
Yep.
Of multiple reflections, not just one reflection, but mirrors, glass panes, tinted windows, anything. Yeah, so it was just like, it just felt like a slapdash filling of time, and the whole central romance between Celine and Scott Vacuous Speedos. Oh, Scott Budgie Smuggler. I couldn't spot him from anyone else in that cast lineup. The only thing that told me it was him was because he was the only one who was running with Celine, and he just made no sense to me whatsoever. And the conspiracy theory with Bill Nighy, I mean, what was that all about?
I have no idea.
Shit.
He was a vampire. He killed your parents, Celine. Yeah, well, if you hadn't figured that out, like, right at the very start, oh, no, he saved me from the werewolves. He saved me from the lichens. And then he turned me into a vampire. Right, so you were just the only one he bothered to turn... No, get fucked. Stupid writing with stupid... It was unnecessarily... It was unnecessarily convoluted. It was literally just there to make you go, oh, there's more to this plot than just we're just wandering around talking bollocks about a conspiracy we've already worked out at like 12 minutes in. And then there was this whole thing. What was it with his bloodline? What was with old Vacuous McHole in the air? What was his actual plot? Because as far as I could tell, he had some sort of magic blood that could make him part vampire, part werewolf. Am I right in thinking that? I mean,
I believe so.
So, yeah.
That was his MacGuffin factor.
So, in which case, he did that by becoming a werewolf. Because they gave him the werewolf bite.
Right.
And then the only way he could survive was by having a bite from Celine. It just... Why? To what end? Who was going to gain from this? And it was just like one guy. And, and even then, it's like, what was the plot? It was just, turn him into a vampire werewolf hybrid. What, you mean you couldn't see that coming from a mile off? It's like, everything about this film is predictable. And the problem is it was so predictable that when it front loads the entire film and you've got 2 hours to fill, It's like someone walking onto stage saying, I'm going to do you some stand-up routines, giving you 3 one-liners and then standing there for another hour going, anyway, so I was at the shops the other day. Price of fish is high, isn't it? And you're all sitting there going, yeah, this is going somewhere. And then after about 3 hours, he's sort of like, and then I bought a bus ticket. God, dear, how much those bus tickets cost? And you're like, he's not going to tell us a joke anymore, is he? That was Underworld in a nutshell. It was 12 minutes of a good film and 2 hours of complete and utter bollocks. 90210 bollocks. It was fucking Romeo and Juliet without any chemistry whatsoever. Why did she suddenly fall for him? Why? What was the reason she suddenly fell in love with him? And why?
Because the plot deemed it necessary.
It can't have been his devastating charisma. Bloody hell.
No, nor his smouldering good looks, because frankly, he just always, even when he was being the best intern that the hospital had ever had and a fantastic medic, he still looked like a homeless person. It was like he's standing there, he's got this lanky fucking sub-Nirvana haircut, standing there in a hoodie that looks like he's nicked it from a bin, and he's in the hospital with old forehead McWanker face, from fucking The Flash, one of the worst actors on the planet, old Captain Cold, old Prison Break. He has one way of talking, and that's yes,
something like that.
Yes, exactly. I'm being evil. You can tell because I am squinting my eyes. It's like, oh, fuck off. So even when they're in that, in the hospital, he's like, oh, good work today. And it's like, brilliant. Okay, good work. Why did you let this man in? Was he selling big issues to the person on the fucking table? What was he? That man's not a bloody medic. And just everything about this film was just stupid, tedious, boring, filler. And then when you get to the finale basically turns into, oh, Scott Speedman has taken his rightful destiny, which is to be basically covered in oil, get black contact lenses, and beat up Bill Nighy. Brilliant. Well done.
Yep.
A villain, beat up Bill Nighy, a villain we didn't even know was a villain until the last 10 minutes, because we suddenly thought, well, we need another villain, because old fucking Drops of Jupiter singer, fucking Maroon 5 bloke, he's rubbish, old Craven, standing there looking like a sort of like putty filled in Tommy Wiseau, whining in a corner.
Now, if only they'd had an actor of the caliber of Tommy Wiseau in this film to give it some life.
It would have actually been better if it just. That's the problem, isn't it? Exactly what you were saying, Jim. It's that whole thing of if they just turned around and went, you know what, fuck it, let's go batshit on this. Let's go absolutely fucking nuts. Then it would have been like, yeah, fine, do that. Let's go absolutely bonkers with this. Let's have Michael Sheen and give him the hammy Tron 2 kind of thing. Just let him off the leash and say, go for it. Have at it, mate. You're a werewolf. Bark. Bark. Grow a tail. Stick a plug up your arse and pretend it's a bushy tail. Go. Do what you want. We on a post. You cocking your leg. Just absolutely fucking nuts. But it took itself so seriously.
Didn't it, though?
Oh. It was so up its own arse, it was practically folded in half. I mean, there wasn't a single moment where you're sitting there watching this going, oh, there's a bit of humour here. Oh, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek here. Oh, at least they can acknowledge the ridiculousness of the whole situation. And they were on a planet Earth where it's constantly black, constantly raining, and everything's constantly blue unless you're in a train station, in which case it has to look like the Matrix and we'll tint it slightly green. I think fucking the red and green cones in my eyes actually died off. I was watching everything for about at least 24 hours, unable to see any colour other than slightly teal. It's just, cobblers. I mean, if you want to look at the positives, the only thing I would say is that Prague looks lovely and it's a great place to go visit. But, anyone could go into Prague and film places with only one light source and make it look gothic. It's fucking Prague.
Was it supposed to be Paris?
It's supposed to be. It wasn't, though. It was clearly Prague.
Clearly. I mean, the problem, I think, for me, with this film is it's so into its own world.
Mm.
But at the same time, it's kind of... So, why should I give a shit?
Yeah.
That vampires are bitching at each other.
Yeah.
Why should I give a shit they're fighting werewolves? Because as far as I can see, well, there's no humans involved. It's none of my business.
Yeah, actually, yes. The only humans you see are in that train station. After that, that's it.
And they're just bystanders. But you have no concept of the vampires actually, being vampires and being creatures out and feeding on people and being being vampires. The werewolves. One thing that when I first saw it, it didn't bother me this time. I was just too disconnected. But the werewolves being bald. Now I remember at the time, just a few years ago.
Darren.
Yeah, I'm still there.
No, it's just we're getting a bit of echo.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Okay.
I don't think it's me.
Okay. Sorry, carry on, Jim. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a few years. Yes, I'll try it again. Yeah, what got me when I watched it the first time was literally, I think just a couple of years earlier, to show off their new G-Force card, which you could buy in WH Smith's and High Street shops, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, kids. We used to do that back in the day. You used to go to a high street store and buy a new card and put it yourself in your computer.
Yeah.
Wow, I know. But that had a demo disc where it had a demo animation of this werewolf with this beautiful rippling fur.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was a big deal because it showed off what the card was capable of. And this is a card, say, you could buy for 150 quid or something. And put in your machine at home. I mean, the irony was everyone said that tech demo looks amazing, but no one can actually write a game on today's computers that can run graphics like that. No. But, it really showed kind of what a good bit of kit this card was. For a home user, this is something you could do industry standard CGI with. So when Underworld rocks up a couple of years later with its bloody slaphead werewolves, it's kind of, oh, guys, buy yourself a G-Force and put some fur on them. They look cold. Especially all that rain, they'll catch the death.
And by the way, did anyone else do a double take when the big bulky guy with all the shurikens in him, werewolf, when he opened his mouth and he went, it was like, that voice is so low, it actually is the bottom of the Atacama Trench.
Yep.
It literally was Atacama Trench. The Atacama's a fucking desert. What am I talking? The Marianas Trench. What am I talking about? Fucking idiot that I am. Yeah, that killed that joke. But it was just, it made Barry White sound like fucking Jimmy Cranky. And I was like, you what? And he's like, I will the truth down the street and I'll take out my fucking. It was like, are you okay, mate? Are you seriously? It was like that double take that John Cleese does when he goes in Life of Brian, and he goes Hail Caesar, and then all of a sudden you see Bigger Stickers go Hail Caesar, and he goes, I was just anyway. I was just going to. He does that kind of weird double take, and I did exactly the same. This bloke's like standing there with all these shurikens, silver shurikens. It's worth pointing out, in a werewolf. Multiple silver shurikens.
Right.
And he's going, just take them out. It's like, right. You're not dead then. No.
Do you know what I did when I finished watching this film? By the way,
go on.
To wash my palate out, I actually sat there and watched a suggestion from Laura, What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that was a more believable vampire film than this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll give it its due. The where some of the effects were really nicely done, and some of the effects were fucking awful though. Mm-hmm. But What We Do in the Shadows was a much better exploration of that kind of world. It was though,
yeah,
with a much better love story in it as well.
Yes,
yeah, indeed,
yeah,
and a better rivalry between vampires and werewolves.
Yeah, exactly.
I've not done the washing up for 5 years.
Yeah, but No, and it ended up with a alliance between werewolves and vampires as well.
Exactly. Yeah, they all got on in the end.
Yeah, so it even got the job done in 2 hours. What Underworld's been trying to do for 5 movies. Wow. I mean, so there you go. So there's our takeaway. I mean, so yeah. In conclusion, I mean, actually, I've just got another flashback. The bit when she's in this room. No, in this corridor, and then the werewolves suddenly magically learn the power of climbing alongside walls.
Yeah, that is a good example of the whole weaponry thing, right? Okay, it's the first part of it, where she's popping off shots at these things. They're taking bullets and they're not going down. Then there's a bit later on where one suddenly appears behind her. She turns around and kills it stone dead with one bullet.
Yep.
But anyway, yes, she was saying they magically appear, they climb up the walls, they do a Spider-Man thing.
Exactly. And it was just like, they're suddenly climbing up the walls, and she's got these bullets. And no, but it was following on from what you just said, actually, which was, she kills one stone dead. There's 3 in the corridor. She's got the gun which can, 1 minute fire, next minute it can fire, and next minute it's like a fucking machine gun. It's like firing everywhere. And she doesn't. Oh, you're echoing again. Right, okay. Anyway, I'm just going to work through it. Fucking echo. Right.
Blackdog in dub.
Come now.
Rewind selector. Lector.
No, it's actually doing it off of you, because when you did it, it didn't echo. But anyway, basically, I'm still getting the echo. It's really winding me up now.
I don't know how you're getting echo because the headphones are securely in place. So
no, I think it's a Skype thing.
Ah, right, okay.
But anyway, so she's standing there and she's firing this gun off that can do, and then 5 minutes later it's like RoboCop's gun, and then 2 minutes later it's like a machine gun, and then 2 minutes later after that, for tension, it's going bang, bang, and she suddenly sees like, your fucking Skype. The fucking werewolves coming down the line, and then she takes one out with a single shot. And then what does she do? Rather than shoot the other 3, she goes for an elaborate 5-minute whirligig thing, shooting a hole in the floor like fucking Wile E. Coyote. It's why? Why are you doing this? What is the point? It's like you've literally got a gun that can either annihilate millions of them or blow a hole in the entire floor. But you'd much rather blow a hole in the floor for 5 minutes while elaborately doing this kind of twirly ballet thing. It's like, oh, fuck off. It's just style over substance all the way. It just irritated me. It bored me and irritated me, and the whole film could have been literally a TV 45-minute special of like the X-Files or something.
Yep, could have been.
But there you go. Anyway, I think we've ragged on it enough. I think Bill Nighy's performance was bollocks, by the way.
Yes, it was.
He was clearly a man who just turned up and said, "Oh, just stand here and you can just put this makeup on me then, yes? And I'll just sit on this chair. £100 million.
The check clears Friday. Okay, hurry it up."
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, he really didn't do an awful lot to earn his conservatory. I'm going to give him 2 Everest front pane doors out of 5 in terms of effort.
Do you know what? I'm not even going to give him a knitted snake draft excluder. You don't get that from me, no.
No?
I'll give him one of those rubber suction cup attached twinkly crystal pendants that put a prism on your wall and blind your guests.
Yeah, one of those supposedly authentic Native American dream catchers.
Yes.
That you bought from Monsoon.
It's about as fake as his performance. There you go.
Okay, then. Well, I think we've done enough. We've done enough damage. It's already dead. Stop kicking it. So, shall we move on to the feedback?
Yes, let's.
Yeah, let's do that.
Now put your hands up. Here online, doing real fine. We're doing our podcast thing. It's called Blackdog, it's not like a joke. Is anyone there listening? What do you think of our show? Let us know by MP3 or email. Just get it to us, it ain't no fuss. We'll even read your Twitter rings. Cause if you like us or you hate us, send some feedback in. Gotta geek upon to raise and put some feedback in. If you think my voice is sexy, put some feedback in. Man, we really like it if you put some feedback in.
Right, okay, so feedback time for this tedious fucking film. And the first one is from Chris Oster, and she writes, okay, I'm just going to lay the cards on the table. I love this movie. I will say it again before I go to the bunker. I love this movie! It's in capitals. As a rule, I'm not a fan of action movies pretending to be vampire movies. I have very specific criteria on what constitutes a good vampire oeuvre, and Underworld only sort of qualifies. Action movies with vampires, however, I find them to be low-hanging fruit. This movie is absolutely low-hanging fruit. But run with my analogy. It's fucking delicious. So, when I say I love vampire movies, I usually mean Interview with a Vampire, Only Lovers Left Alive, and Byzantium-type vampire movies. Byzantium is a very good film, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I was watching... I caught some of that last week, actually. Never seen it before. It's like, why are you playing this at 2 o'clock in the morning?
That was the last film I reviewed for Sci-Fi Now.
Wow.
Very good. Anyway, the slow burn... Sorry, Chris continues. The slow burn, character-driven, angst, lace-ridden stories about toxic relationships. Still, if I have to watch one action vampire movie, Underworld is the franchise I would pick. And that is because Kate Beckinsale is beautiful and visually perfect as vampire. I can still remember when this movie first came out. I remember it being so stylistically beautiful it had me. From the first building leap and hop landing in the CGI rain, it was overwhelming in a way that I wasn't used to. It was like Blade, which was fun, but better. Just let that sink in for a second. There you go. Anyway, moving on. It had an elephant. It had an element.
An elephant.
Did you associate fun with this film?
I don't know. It's very dour. Sorry. Anyway, it had an element of gothic dressing and thus satisfying my need for the film to be pretty, while also having less shallow than the usual plot. Kate Beckinsale had dethroned Angelina Jolie and Mila Jovovich as my personal idol, and that is saying a lot because I made myself an accurate replica of that red dress from Resident Evil, and I have no shaming wearing it. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. See you in the next cosplay. Anyway, Underworld is a female-driven action where female-driven action movies were just starting to happen and not suck. Contemporaries were the first Resident Evil movie and Kill Bill movies. Buffy was still a thing. Angelina Jolie was trying hard to get a franchise that didn't suck. And before the early 2000s, I can only really think of Buffy and Sarah Connor as breakout female action-driven shows. What about Aliens? That's what I'm going to say. Anyway, I'm sure... Oh, there's probably a couple of others, actually, now I think about it. But anyway, let's
Original Avengers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Mrs. Peel. Anyway, let's not derail. But anyway, Chris continues. I'm sure there were a handful of others, but they were not good, and they were often used as fodder against having women in action films as being a bad draw. Again, Aliens, but there you go. Never mind that they were just shitty movies. Anyway, so here was Kate Beckinsale as Celine giving me a story that basically revolved around being an overtly competent female with good instincts and skill on point, and at every turn she is shut down and doubted in deference to the local alpha male assistant, local alpha male assistant, despite his inferior skill, pettiness, and obvious creepy obsession, jealousy over her. The movie isn't 100% there for me, however. The film absolutely revolves around a story of male characters and betrayal by her father the betrayal by her father is only marginally addressed as a side story to the larger plot. The only other female character of note, Erica, is basically a plot device. While she has her own priorities and does show a measure of agency, it revolves around Craven. I don't know why. He's moderately powerful, sure, but clearly a manipulative dick who's hung up on other women. Get some self-respect, girl. His sequin-encrusted satin chamois shirts are so... Chamois, sorry. Shirts are so disco 70s. Rewatching it now with a technical critical eye and some experience in special effects, I am impressed more by the artistic side of things. Stringy, damp hair is hell hard to do and maintain over 16-hour days, I'm just saying that. From the braids and the curls of Erica to the slick haute couture of Amelia to low-maintenance sweaty hair that Celine has, not actually low maintenance, everyone was polished and groomed in a way you only might see in higher budget films. IMDb lists 14 hair and makeup and special effects artists for Underworld, most of them specialising in some aspect, which is usually a sign that your film is low budget. Even in my film union hairstylists who can only get a wig work, it's hard to find. This watching, I found myself pausing my DVD to look at the detail of the veining on Lucien and Michael's transformation paint jobs. It was also beautifully done, and combined with the fact that it was in water, I'm actually more than a little impressed. Anytime you add water, your crew just wants to cry and quit because everything becomes 5 times harder. The Victor prosthetics are still top of the line, even by today's standards, not to be overshadowed, which in a way it is, by the simple beauty makeup that fits the characters, being elegant and necessarily invisible. As always, hair and makeup are instrumental in understanding the characters on a subconscious level that either leaves you satisfied or feeling that something's off, breaking the reality of the film. Besides the makeup, the film is also a very good example of the power of wardrobe in creating a character. The vampire world is shown in a few short clips and tells you instantly, before it is brought up, that they are extravagant and have become decadent. They are contrasted by Celine and the Death Dealer's functional latex and embossed leather uniforms, and the werewolf's hobo chic and stringy hair. It tells you everything you need to know about how these people live, and if they were off, it would be obvious and world-breaking. See DOA's What's Her Name in the shower with full glam makeup for perfect example. When hair and makeup and wardrobe is wrong, it leaves an off feeling that you can't name why it's wrong. Now, granted, for the record, latex is an impractical and uncomfortable and fragile texture that would not be conducive to hunting vampires. In real life, there has never been a reason to wear latex except in fetish clubs or Holly Harlot pin-up photo shoots. But it's okay because it looks cool, and not even I am going to argue with Kate Beckinsale in a latex catsuit on the grounds that it is impractical. Wendy Partridge, the costume designer, knows her shit and what's going on to look good in this film. She worked on Blade 2, Hellboy, Silent Hill, etc. She worked with a hairstylist, and I know on one of the shittier Resident Evil films. I can't help but wonder what her wardrobe budget was like on this. As it was a lowest budget film, I'm curious how she managed to do so much with so little, and who took the pay cuts to make it happen. I'm guessing a lot of thrift stores finds an unpaid labour recreating the Alexander McQueen gowns. See Amelia in her entourage's wardrobe. And I'm going to wrap this feedback up here. I could say more. I didn't even talk about the werewolves, inferior to Ginger Snaps' werewolves. Agreed. Or the sad attempt at a love story that this film is better off without. Agreed. I'll save all that for if and when we do the sequels. No way. Anyway, thanks for doing this one. Low-hanging fruit, but I still love it, and it's always nice to feedback on a beloved film. Cheers, Chris. Well, thanks very much for that, Chris. Interesting about all the minutiae on the hair and the makeup. I mean, I must admit, that's a little out of my remit and knowledge, but I imagine, trying to keep hair slick and looking like it's, stylishly wet for 16 hours a day is probably a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I take your point as well about like the visuals and the makeup and the costumes sort of telling the story, but in some ways that's the part of the problem, isn't it? That the directors kind of everyone's kind of relying on the extras to tell the story because the script isn't really doing the job. And again, the love story that pops up in that last third is just so casual. It's not even really worth mentioning. You could cut the whole thing out and it would just disappear. Anybody else got anything to add before we move on?
No. I will say though, when people say low-hanging fruit, I always think of piles. But there you
go. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you very much for that, Chris. Yeah, and like I say, I'm pretty sure there are a few actually good, positively driven, female-driven movies before this, and Resident Evil and Kill Bill. I mean. But, yeah, they all do fall in foul of the same thing at some point. But anyway, yes, I'm glad you liked it, even if, yes, you know where you're going, to the bunker. Off you go. Just don't worry. I'm sure I can see already who else I've got on this list, and I can tell you won't be alone. Anyway, thanks very much, and I'm sure we'll hear from you again soon. So, cheers. Right, so let's move on. Darren, who do you have next?
Well, I have somebody who's definitely not going into the bunker, and that's Fred Lubnow.
Ah, Dr. Scum.
Indeed.
Lovecraftian science.
And he sends us a mail titled Underworld, more like Underwhelmed.
Ah.
And he says, Hello, Blackdog crew. Hope all is well.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the Underworld franchise, I was going to say Underground. There from the
Overground.
That again. Yeah.
Wobbling free.
Oh God, Womble's in black latex. No, stop it. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I was at a club like that last Friday, actually. For me, the Underworld franchise is like the Transformers or Resident Evil films. I would never go to see any of these movies in the theatre. However, when available to rent, I do give them a spin. Every film within these franchises looks like the others within that franchise. I can never tell if I'm watching Underworld or Underworld Evolution or Underworld Rise of the Lycans. They all bleed into each other, and 5 minutes after each film is completed, I have a hard time just remembering what I just watched. Not exactly a great endorsement for a film.
No.
Underworld was silly, repetitive, ponderous. While it had some interesting ideas and Kate Beckinsale was nice to watch, the CG effects were dated. I understand that CG allows one to tell a story on a grander scale, but much of this movie could have been done with practical effects, and they wouldn't have looked so dated like the werewolves with no hair. Underworld must have been on an alternative Earth where humans are an endangered species. Other than cannon fodder in the opening scene of the film, and some doctor humans are largely absent from the film. With all the fighting going on between vampires and werewolves, no one is noticing. Oh, sorry, my apologies. I'll phrase that again. With all the fighting going on between vampires and werewolf, no one is noticing.
Yeah.
These vampires and werewolves need to feed at some point. It seems they all do. It seems that all they do is focus on their petty little tribal war. That's a point. I mean, you don't really get to see them kind of feeding themselves.
No. She mentions once that they came up with synthetic blood.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that'll be it then.
But even so,
It's the Ex Machina just explains that away.
Just press the button, wave the hands.
Yeah. There you are. Also, not only is it always night on the alternative Earth, but there is more thunder and lightning in Underworld than 3 Universal horror movies plus 2 Hammer films. In summary, another movie I have no intention of seeing again. Thank you, Blackdog. I'm wondering who is building next week's Conservatory. Fred, Dr. Scum, Lubnow.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Dr. Scum. Yeah, he pretty much hits on all of our points at that point. Really?
So.
Yeah. Where are all the humans? Why is it always raining? What the fuck is this thing doing?
Can someone turn the colour up on this?
Yeah, exactly. I can't see anything but blue anymore. In fact, maybe that's our play-out track. Blue by Eiffel 69. Yeah.
Yeah. Or we could have, what's that one by Blue? The
Riding down with the top down.
Yeah.
Going
That
down
one.
Lockdown. Yeah. I can't remember that song.
Little Blue.
Little Blue.
Theme to Little Blue.
Maybe
Blue
the theme to Electric Blue.
What's the theme?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Blue Hotel by Chris Isaacs.
Oh, well.
The Blackdog Spotify list coming soon when someone could be asked.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe we could speak to Nestle and get them to bring back Blue Ribbon. Oh, bit of politics there.
Blue Velvet by Bobby V, I think. Is it Bobby V?
Yeah. Bobby Vinton.
Yep. Bobby Vinton, that's it,
If music be the food of love, Bobby Vinton was that old bit of wedding cake left in a tin at the back of the cupboard.
Nice. Okie dokie. Right. All right then. Right. Well, let's thanks very much for that, Dr. Scum, Fred. And do check out more of Dr. Scum's writings and musings at his blog, which is lovecraftianscience.wordpress.com. Right. So, Jim, who do we have next?
Well, we're sticking with our scientific contingent. I'm going now to hear from the fiendish Dr. Will.
And what do we have with Dr. Will?
I know where this one's going.
Oh
yes, yes.
Straight to the bunker.
I think so. You see, because I remember many thousands of years ago helping a certain young lady track down a certain box set for said supervillain that we are just getting an email from right now.
Okay, right. Buckle up, everyone.
Okay. The fiendish Dr. Will writes, subject line, underwear evolution.
Hold on, wait.
And Will writes, good evening, Blackdog. I remembered Underworld with a certain fondness and was looking forward to watching it again, having only seen it once before.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, it doesn't quite live up to the memory I had of it. It is a beautiful film, and I'm not just talking about Kate's arse, with a well-realised aesthetic. In that route, it was well-rooted in a comic book style. Things were designed to look good without necessarily being practical. Kate's coat, for instance, was awesome, but you'd never be able to fight in it, even with vampire reflexes. I thought the practical effects, such as the Lycan costumes, were excellent, but was somewhat let down by the digital effects, which were, quite frankly, ropey. Where the film really failed was in a poorly constructed plot and sloppy pacing. It didn't really give you enough to get you invested in the story, so frankly, I didn't care really what happened to anyone, not even as the plot's intrigue started to unravel and the truth began to come out. I'm sure Jim will have a lot to say about the vampire lore on display as well. That said, I really enjoyed Bill Nighy's performance, but then I usually do. This was more than just a phoned-in conservatory earner. This was Bill having fun playing a vampire, because vampires are cool, goddammit. They also did a good job of making him demonstrably more powerful than the others, giving them a reason to fear and respect him. Michael Sheen also gave more to his performance than just taking home a check, and it was fun to watch him. Sadly, the quality of individual actors couldn't fix the overall story. Still, that didn't stop me from carrying on to watch the sequel straight afterwards, even though it did have Derek Jacobi in it. Brackets, he really should have stuck with Brother Cadfael. Not impressed with anything else he's done. They may be bad films, but they're basically good fun. There is a good reason I don't watch them more often than once every 10 years or so, though. Till next time, fiendish Dr. Will.
Okay, well, there you go. Fiendish Dr. Will's not confounded expectations.
He certainly has, yes.
There you go. Or maybe he's just come to a bit of a realisation. But anyway, okay, well, thank you very much for that, sir. Yeah, don't worry, we won't be seeing Brother Cadfael anytime soon, I don't think. Doing a second one. Just don't think so. Don't think I can do another one of these. What do you think? No?
One's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I think we're happy there. That's it. Cool. Anyway, well, thank you very much for that, Dr. Will. Yes, good feedback, sir. And let's move on. I'm saying all this, and I've just realised it's my turn, isn't it? Yes. So my next piece of feedback is from Monkey Boy Steve Deegan, and he writes, "Do you want Twilight? Because this is how you get Twilight." Right. So, here we go. Monkey here again, ready to delve into this week's film, which is a bit of a chore. I managed to get through it on my third attempt of trying, but at least this time it was because of health reasons with me and not because there was anything seriously wrong with this movie. And that's the thing. As it goes, there isn't much badly wrong with this movie. It did much better than Van Helsing, which came out a year afterwards. That's not really saying much, though, is it, really? But anyway, carry on. And it was essentially the same plot. The plot was actually well thought out, if poorly executed in parts. Speedman was definitely a misstep in the casting, but aside from Craven, the rest of the cast was solid. Beckinsale had a selfie pout down pat years ago before it was even really a thing, which is probably the kindest thing I can say about her in this first step in the franchise, mainly because Lem Wiseman doesn't focus on her skin-tight leather-clad arse too much in this outing, and she was not actually with him until after this film. I know it's shocking, right? So, she got the role based on her ability. Sadly, that ability was lacking from her performance here, though I suspect that may be done due to the character. Even so, it's hard for me to exactly remember why I liked this film when it first came out, and even though I did buy it, and even enough to buy it and the 2 sequels on Blu-ray. I'd say that it hadn't aged well, but even at the time, the creature-changing effects and the lichens running on the walls outside Michael's apartment didn't look right. They're really just the only things that would have shown this film's age. However, the final effects in the hybrid Michael are the worst of the lot. More likely, it's because of the zero chemistry between our two leads. You don't feel invested in Celine and Michael surviving and getting together until the reveal that everyone bar Lucien is actually an arsehole. Craven is a power-hungry dick rather than just a dick. Victor will kill his own daughter to avoid going against anything he believes. The bit players on either side have their battle lines drawn by what they are and don't even question it, ever. And even Celine gives in too willingly to the blind hate with no proof. Sheen is actually the standout here, precisely because he rarely goes into hammy after his introduction. But again, at times the character's motivations are confusing. I still don't understand why he chases the car once he gets Michael's blood, especially since he doesn't bother chasing again after going over it. And despite being much closer to it than when he first ran after it, it's just a pointless filler chase scene. This, much like Resident Evil franchise, is the epitome of switch your brain off action. It works to not overthink it, as there's really not much to think about in the first place. In the end, it's neither very good or really bad. It's more of the kind of film you just happily watch if there's absolutely nothing else on. But that's what's scary. But what is scary is that upon checking the movie trivia on IMDb, I found that the studio greenlit not just a sequel, but a prequel too, based solely on the advanced ticket sales in Canada. I know, Canada. Weird, right? Anyway, until next time, this is Monkey. Peace out. Well, thank you very much for that, Steve. Yeah. I don't know why Michael runs after the car when he gets chucked off it, even though he has
werewolf blood kicking in. He wants to chase a vehicle. Might have been a stick if someone had thrown one, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing he brings up here that we kind of briefly touched on earlier is, even though whenever we say sort of Underworld, we sort of do this kind of, you know, and we start talking about the leather-clad arse and all that kind of stuff. It really is right. There isn't as much leering over Kate Beckinsale until the sort of sequels, really, where you only have to look at the trailer for like the second one, and it literally follows her arse all the way down like a building, practically reflecting the set of it. So yeah. Oh God. Yeah, everyone is a dick. I mean, there is no real motivation for any of this apart from it's tradition, damn it. That seems to be the whole thing, really. Scott Speedman's destined character. I mean, once he becomes a vampire werewolf hybrid, then what? What was going to happen then? Presuming Lucien was...
They gang up together and take on another third creature of the night. Divorce lawyers.
Nice. So yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's it. Taking on PPI people, PPI cold callers.
That's evil.
Yeah, that's the ultimate evil. Anyway, thank you very much for that, Steve. Good feedback, sir. And, why would they have done that? Ticket sales in Canada alone. You would have thought
there must be some strange demographics voodoo there.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's some... Yeah, I think someone lent on a zero while looking up ticket sales. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, let's move on. So, thank you very much for that, sir. So, Darren. Well, here we are again. It's not even 11 o'clock and he's passed out and all this stuff. Right, okay, well, while he tries to wake up, his next feedback was going to be from Halo Man Lamont, which I'm just saying because I'm sure he's not heard it. No, anyway, so, okay, I'm going to fucking do it. Bollocks this, I'm not waiting any longer. So, Bob, Halo Man Lamont, good night, Dal, says the following. His feedback is entitled A Conservatory in the Night. And Bob writes, Dear Lee, Snoozy, Jim, and Elton. And Sir, Dear Lee, Snoozy, Jim, and Sir not appearing in this picture. Hi guys, sorry I've not been in touch for a while, but I have been hit hard with work and things. But as per usual, I've got some free time when the Blackdog is covering a film with not the best reputation. Good man, good man. Not much to report from the archives, I'm afraid, but I can report that this weekend I have some free time, so I've decided to meddle with the mystic and magical arts. In my mind, it was like Doctor Strange, but in reality, it was probably more like one of the wizards from the Discworld Unseen University. Speaking of my sojourn into the dark arts, it blends quite nicely into talking about this week's film, Underworld. Now, I first saw this film on DVD just after it came out, and I have to say that I was very impressed with it. The acting is top-notch and the special effects were unsurpassed. Okay. The film was exciting and portrayed the Romeo and Juliet story in a new and interesting way. This film is truly a dyed-in-the-wall classic. This is what I would say if I was blind, deaf, and had a crayon stuffed up my nose, affecting my IQ. Jesus Christ, this film is fucking awful. The only way I can think they got Bill Nighy in this festering pile of shit is that Wiseman had a picture of him doing something very naughty. I mean, he obviously held on to it because Bill Nighy went on to appear in 2 more of these films. Mind you, this is a Conservatory film and Michael Sheen's in it as well. And regrettably, I have to say the first thing I ever saw him in. And for Christ's sakes, I've just found out Mr. Prison Break himself, Wentworth Miller. There you go, Mr. Wentworth Miller, whose only talking delivery is this, and he has one expression which requires him to look like he's trying to do calculus in his head. Anyway, the acting in this film is varied. Fucking not right. Nighy's character seems to be dislocating his jaw in an attempt to try and swallow the set whole, while Michael Sheen seems to be playing it rather subtle this time for once. The acting from everybody else in this film is awful. The guy who played Michael Corvin could have been replaced with a block of wood and he still would have got the same effect, and Kate Beckinsale swans around looking moody, but not acting in any emotion whatsoever. Though I will say, she looks absolutely stunning in that skin-tight leather catsuit. Anyway, really, all this film was for an excuse for Len Wiseman to essentially shout, "Look at my hot wife!" A trait that seems to have been picked up by another one of Lee's favourite directors, Paul W.S. Anderson. All right, Len, you have a hot wife. No need to shove it in everybody else's face. The special effects on this film were also shit. I'm not sure if that was the best CGI the early 90s could afford, but I mean, the werewolves, even though they were practical effects most of the time, didn't even have faces that moved. Mind you, the faces weren't really all that scary to begin with. They were less intimidating than my West Highland Terrier, although I must admit they do look a tiny bit like him. Indeed, at multiple points throughout this film, I had to restrain myself from shouting, "Who wants to go walkies then? Come on, walkies!" And for bloodthirsty creatures, the werewolves didn't exactly have a big kill count, did they? This was one of the places where my dog seemed to be outperforming even the scary creatures. Admittedly, he only killed a rat and a pigeon, but he seems to have drawn more blood than these guys have. The only upside of this film I can really think about is the backstory. Again, this seems to be another of those installments in the "we missed the brilliant film before this one" category, and the history and the lore of the conflict seems to be a lot more interesting than what we saw on screen. Though when we do get to see the backstory in the third film, they made it really bland and boring. Oh, you surprised me. Which it shouldn't be. So technically, this which it shouldn't be. So technically, this would be another crime level of this film. Listen, this film is bad, and quite frankly, it puts the werewolf and vampire genres back numerous years. I mean, hell, this thing has even got sued by a game company for stealing their idea. It wasn't original. Romeo and Juliet thing was way old before now, and shouldn't have been the thing you started off your franchise with. In my opinion, this film can rot in the fires of hell where it deserves to be. Underworld? More like underwhelmed. I'll leave it at that, lads, for risk of blacking out in a rage. Speak to you later, boys. Bob Lamont, Haloman Lamont, official archivist of the Blackdog podcast. P.S. Interesting fact. The first World War film the Blackdog ever covered was Dog Soldiers. Episode title, Black Dog Soldiers. Whereas the first vampire film the guys really ever covered was Let the Right One In. Episode title, Proto Clunge. Both of which were part of the first 4 weeks of horror back in 2010. Oh, look at that. Oh, well, thank you very much for that, Rob. Hailer man, sir, down in the archives. Yes, thank you very much for that, sir. That was good feedback, yeah. I completely agree with pretty much all of that. Like I say, as we've now found out, essentially the look at my hot wife thing didn't come into the second one, but yeah.
It's there, though, isn't it?
I think it's hard to deny. But anyway, thank you very much for that, Bob. Yes, totally agree. And yes, carry on, sir, and we'll speak to you whenever you're free next. So, Jim, who do you have next?
Next, we're back to the science contingent with Gary, Mr. Spock, Madden.
Ah, and he was the one who supplied us with our friend, the balloon squeaky noise. There you go. So anyway, indeed. So carry on. What does he have to say?
Greetings, various and sundry black doggerel and flappy creatures of the night. And look at you, Mr. Owl.
Yay, Mr. Owl's there.
He's awake.
He's awake. Someone has to be.
Yep. Anyhow, Gary writes, I'm afraid it's going to be a short feedback this week. Much training and completing of tests and certifications to do before I make my next trip through Commander Worf's security checkpoint. I have to say I'm a little dubious about the course entitled The Care and Feeding of Klingon Security Chiefs, but what are you going to do? This week's may land me in the bunker. You see, I don't really hate Underworld. I'm not saying it's cinematic art, or even it's a really good film. But at the same time, I can't run it down too much. I realise it's not true to vampire or werewolf mythology, but fuck, no movie ever really has been. I can't gash it for the lack of hairy wolfmen because, as I believe Lee pointed out, CGI wasn't up to doing much good hair at the time when the film was released.
No.
In fact, I've pretty much decided this film has less to do with vampires and werewolves and mythology than those that appear in the World of Darkness vampire and werewolf role-playing games. It's like Doom or Resident Evil, a film franchise based on gaming source material, and as an avid role player, I'm good with that. In my opinion, the action was pretty good, save for the usual Hollywood what-the-fuckery you find in any summer blockbusters. The characters were about as deep as a saucer of spilt vampire blood, and the force-feeding narrative exposition got old. But Underworld is far from the worst offender in either of these categories. I would drag the film over the coals for vampires having reflections, but at least they didn't stroll about in the daylight sparkling. In fact, this film's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me, and I drag out my copy every once in a while for a good bit of bitey-shooty fun. So, with that confession off my chest, I'll shamble off to the bunker of shame, or the cursed earth, or Cleveland. Surely not Cleveland.
Yes.
I didn't mean to defend Manos, for God's sake. Anyway, until next week. Live long, and if two vampires communicate via a fog mirror, can either hear what the other is saying?
Well, that's a good question. That's a very good question. If they're trying to talk via blood magic using a mirror, they're vampires. How do they look in the mirror? A key point.
Well, in fairness, I mean, the thing with vampires in cinema is very, very quickly, one of the first bits of mythology to get the boot was the whole mirrors thing.
Yeah.
And the shadows thing. I mean, Nosferatu does it first because, frankly, it looks great when you've got Max Schreck's shadow going up the staircase. Although, according to many legends, vampires don't cast shadows.
Yeah.
And in the case of Reflections, it's one of those things. It's a massive ball ache to take them all out.
That's what I was going to say. That is ultimately what it is, isn't it? It's that whole thing. It is.
In a period vampire movie, they tend to stick with it because you don't have lots of plate glass window buildings and stuff like that. You can just have someone get a hand mirror and go, "Ooh, he's not there. He's a vampire." But in contemporary ones, I noticed that reflections and shadows things go right out the window.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, like I say, I mean, if you're gonna, as soon as you start getting into mirrors and removing mirrors, the first thing you go, right, okay, that's a budget thing, right there.
But the thing is, with vampire lore anyway, is it varies from place to place. It isn't as set in stone as people think it is. You know what I mean? That's the vampire mythology you all have in your head is a product of mainly Stoker, but mainly movies.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole thing that they, burst into flame in sunlight comes from Nosferatu.
Yeah, but then that's the thing, isn't it? It's if in the case of Underworld, they just pick and choose what they want to have on the day. It's like,
well, that's the problem. It's inconsistent, and it's I think once you start monkeying about with a classic monster and shedding its attributes, you hollow out the creation.
Yeah, they might as well not be. They might as well not be called vampires.
No, you could call them anything.
Yeah,
well, because they're not actually very vampire-y anymore.
No, exactly. They don't drink blood, or if they do drink blood, they don't drink blood of humans. They don't stalk anyone. They don't care about running water. They show up in mirrors. They seem to be vulnerable to sunlight, except when it's in a bullet that is in glass, a glass bullet. Then it doesn't seem to bother them at all. It's just like, oh, come on, do me a favor. So yeah. Anyway, right. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. So, well, thank you very much for that, Gary. Thank you very much for that feedback. And it's interesting how many people are actually willing to let this film slide on a number of things. Pun aside about the leather. But well,
I think as many feedbackers have commented, I mean, it does have good production values, and
yeah,
there's a level of competence here that it makes it feel not like a bad movie, as I said. It's
a nothing film.
Yeah, it just didn't connect with me, and it's not for the usual expected reasons.
Yeah,
I mean, compare it to another insanely successful film, but it's as much as we've dinged on the plot, at least it has a plot, unlike Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen.
Yes.
And you can actually follow what's going on, even though it might be a bit uninvolving. But you know what I mean? There's that there's a certain level of craft that I think there's enough good stuff in it that some people can go with it. And it connects with them in a way it didn't for me. So I can sort of understand both sides of this one. I can understand why people have a soft spot for it.
Right. Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Right. I'm just going to move on for that. I totally agree, actually. I do understand that entirely. So, yeah, right. Let's move on then. Well, my last piece of written feedback is from Russ Whitfield.
I am back, by the way.
Yeah, I know. We've done your feedback.
I know.
You fucking nodded off. You nodded off for a measurable amount of time as well.
Do you know what? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be different next week because I'm not doing the 5 o'clock shift.
Yeah, I know. But you're going to just, all that means is you're just going to be falling asleep in my house.
Yeah, but it's a lot more comfortable chair. Mind you, this is a pretty comfortable one. I made the mistake of sitting down. That's the thing.
Anyway.
I did listen to the last 2 bits of feedback, but I felt so embarrassed about not actually getting in on the start of the other one. Problem once one that I kind of thought, when do I come in? When do I come in? What do I say?
Well, ideally, when I asked you to read it out, that would have been...
Yeah, it would have been. It would have. I know.
Doesn't matter. Okay, well, welcome to the party, Dal.
This will be a fun story to tell, won't it? The shindig. Well, there you are.
Well, it doesn't have to be a story. I'm not cutting this shit out.
Oh, you fucker.
I never do. But you know that because you listen to the cast.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, there you go then.
I listen to it all the time. Honest, I do.
So anyway, Russ Whitfield writes... Here we go. I know. Most people hate it, but I genuinely do love it. Not even in a Resident Evil love way. Even I'll admit that as cool and awesome as I think those movies are, retconning entire plotline on a whim is questionable. But then who am I to question the genius of auteur Paul W.S. Anderson? Perhaps none of us truly understand the magnitude of his vision. So perhaps these things are only seem retconned, but we're all really just too dense to figure out the true meaning. Yes, that'll be it. No, it's not.
No,
anyway,
Russ.
No, God bless you, Russ, but no. Anyway, but that's not why I'm here, he continues. Although they're often lumped together, Resident Evil and Underworld are really 2 totally different films in style, tone, and delivery. Like it or loathe it, Underworld takes itself utterly seriously. The big standout for me is the amount of world building that was put into the first movie, and therefore carried on to the subsequent ones. Whether you think the Wiseman Grievo ripped all of it off of Vampire the Masquerade role-playing game or not is neither here nor there. White Wolf made a TV show that never took off. Underworld rose from the Vampire the Masquerade grave. Yeah, but it don't make it any better.
Yeah, but to tell you the truth, even though there were only 6 episodes made of the White Wolf series, the first 3 episodes, even though the last 3 were pretty dire, the first 3 were a billion times better than this.
Yeah, and let's be honest, if someone took one of your books, Russ, and turned it into a film and didn't pay you any royalties, you'd be a bit miffed if they managed to do it where you didn't manage to get a TV series off the ground or something. I still think that would be reasons to be miffed. Anyway, Russ continues. That aside, in the movie, there's a sense that the Lycan vampire war has been going on for all those years. It feels like an ancient conflict. I think that the set design has a lot to do with it. It's just Prague. It's not sets. It's just Prague. It feels like a lived-in world. It is. Anyway, I think the Wiseman does a great job in showcasing the different societies. I love that scene where Celine walks through the coven and you have all the decadent vampires lounging about and she gives them that look of utter contempt. It's subtle, but also a precursor to the divisions not only within the coven, but with all the others too. Also, the war-weary Lucian, who starts out being portrayed as a standard baddie, but really there's a lot more depth to the character than that. The film looks beautiful. Prague is a perfect backdrop for the Lycan vampire shenanigans, and although it becomes a cliche in itself now, the first movie was all that bluish, washed-out tone that worked so well, especially in the exteriors. Look at that opening shot. It's iconic. It's so well done when she leaps off the building and lands and then just strides off. It just looks really cool. Okay, point taken. That's 10 seconds out of a 2-hour movie, but carry on. Anyway, it's shamelessly gothic. It's Tim Burton without the madcap again. That's the thing that I really enjoy with Underworld, is that it really is po-faced. It's utterly serious about its own reality, and it can more or less pull this off because in most cases, but not all, the acting is great. The good. Kate Beckinsale as Celine actually has a very little arc or development in the first one, but what little she has to work with, she does so well. She makes us believe that she's this single-minded, revenge-driven warrior who really does trust only one person, Victor. Yeah, but that's because the script just has to say, Victor does this, Victor does that. I'm going over here because Victor loves this. I'm standing here because I'm Victor's favourite. Victor. That's not really her.
Victor brings all the boys to the yard.
Yeah, right. He's better than yours, Grandad. He's better than yours. He could teach you, but he has to... Anyway, Bill Nighy is great as the grumpy, put-out, being woken early elder. I really love Bilster's performance as he swings from grumpy to sympathetic, from furious to jaded.
Sorry?
Did
you say Bilster?
Yeah, Bilster. Old Bilster. Give him a knock on the shoulder. All right, Bilster. Billsy. Bildy Bill. Bildy Bill. Nighy. Uppy Nighy. Nighy boy. Nighy. Hey, Nighy. Anyway, so he goes from furious to jaded, and the action scenes were good too. He spoke a lot about them in the special features, and I think he was pleased with the result. Of course he was. He didn't fucking do anything. He's a brilliant actor anyway. No disagreement there. So this was well cast, but he had a limited time to prove to the audience that he was the uber vamp whom all must obey. Martin Sheen's Blackadder-like Lucian was brilliant. Okay, a real star turn. Probably the standout performance, and, unusually for the antagonist, had far more depth of character. Dangerous move to hand an actor of such talent all the juicy stuff, and for me, he steals the movie. I think it's also fair to give Sophia Myles and Kevin Grievous a nod here too. They are hench persons, especially Grievous, but do well with what they have to do what I do, and I found in the extended cut, sorry, I'm just going to power through that Miles is given a much more of a storyline which explains a self-serving attitude and a sudden I'm going to help Celine twist. The bad. Kevin Brolly's Craven. This was a key role, and I think the actor just did not deliver. I'm not familiar with his other work, but he was a weak link in the chain, and I get that he's supposed to be slimy and weak, but he overplayed the weak. He just didn't work for me at all, and he should have been played by Sean Bean, because any film is improved tenfold by Sean Bean. The Ugly. Speedman. No matter how much I want to love these films, and I do, I really do, I'm not blind to the charisma vacuum that is Scott Speedman. I just don't care what happens to him. I care that Celine cares about him, but that's the only saving grace. It's almost as though he was picked for his washboard abs and cool hair. Well, it was cool in 2003. He's really, really, really ridiculously good looking, but it's apparent he's drowning in a sea of acting awesomeness around him, and I can't see what Wiseman saw in him at all. Maybe cuckolding? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Underworld isn't the most original of storylines. Romeo and Juliet wrapped up with page 75 betrayal reveal. It was Victor all along, and Craven was dealing with Lucian, the fiend. But it is wrapped up so stylishly it doesn't seem to matter. The action is great and the setting is really wonderful, replete with bluish tones. And it was such a fresh, exciting take on the action horror genre. I don't think anyone can deny that it has lifted its cues from many sources. The Vampire Games, The Matrix, Blade, and many more, I'm sure. But really, so what? It takes all that stuff, mashes it up, and gives us a movie mythology that's going strong nearly 15 years later. Yeah, so's dysentery. Anyway, just a final point that I hope won't raise the ire of Messrs. Medcalf and Barnard. Darren pointed out on Facebook that the vampire only weapons work when the plot needs them to. Yes, they do. But then how did an entire legion of Emperor's finest troops get owned by Ewoks? How did the Ewoks just happen to have attack-killing traps readily prepared in all the right places?
Whoa. Hold on.
Yep.
I'm getting strained of fucking the South Park Johnny Cochran Wookiee speech.
Yeah. Chewbacca is a Wookiee, and that is why you must acquit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Russ. Have you seen stormtroopers try to fight? You know, have you seen them trying to shoot shit? Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, a bunch of teddy bears could beat them in a fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other thing is also he does bring that up because he does actually say, indeed, why can't stormtroopers shoot at all? If only Imperial stormtroopers were said to be that accurate. Well,
but we're not talking about the accuracy here.
No.
What we're talking about the effectiveness of the weapons. And there's never once do you see an Ewok take more than one blast from a stormtrooper's rifle.
That's right.
Whereas
Except in niche porn videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when they take a totally different kind of shot. No, anyway.
Yeah, but it's, whereas in this, the effect can either be several bullets or just one, depending on how the plot or how stylized the actual shot is. How cool is it going to be that she turns around and shoots one and it drops down dead right there from landing in that really cool way or finishing off another bunch in front of her.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't equate the two.
Yeah, I know. It's just bollocks, isn't it? It's a bit of a straw man argument, if I'm honest.
It's quality. You're basically using the quality of someone's combat skill against the quality of their weapon, and that just sorry, mate, doesn't work.
He does carry on. He carries this on. He goes. Why does the Matrix bother with forming the Matrix? That's kind of explained, though, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing of it's explained.
People in the Matrix, after a while, refuse to accept it as real. And so they end up losing people. So, okay, moving on. And he also comes up with, how come everyone in Kevin Costner's Open Range got shot 100 times yet walked away alive? No idea, but then, frankly, I thought Open Range was cobblers, so there you go.
Never seen Open Range.
Why wasn't Dirty Harry sacked? Because it was a 80s, because it was a 70s detective film.
Yeah, and he had the negatives on the police captain.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
And why did the police department employ Martin Riggs, a veteran with known psychological issues? Well, again, that's actually, see, everything here he's picking up, apart from the Stormtroopers, which is such an hoary old argument, but everything else is actually in the films. The films actually address these things.
And plus, we're not talking about quality of weaponry.
No, I mean, we're talking about if in Aliens, an alien gets shot with a pulse rifle, it goes down like a sack of spuds. It doesn't get back up again. Whereas in this, this fucking thing, they take a shot and then they'll fall over dead, and the next time they'll take a shot and they'll get back up and squeeze it out like they're taking a shit through their skin.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a shut up, that's why, even though he says it's not even a shut up, that's why. Sometimes you have to go with the plot. I mean, it's not. It's just the plot. The plot's just saying today it will work, tomorrow it won't. Today it will, and tomorrow it won't. Whereas in the case of, if you'd have a point if, like, this Death Star fired at a planet, blew up Alderaan, and then moved to Yavin and blew up Alderaan, but it didn't quite blow up Alderaan, or Alderaan got kind of slightly singed.
It sort of blowed it up.
Yeah, exactly. These aren't really decent combat arguments to combat the problem of inconsistency within the writing. All these plots that you bring up, Russ, Matrix forming the Matrix, Dirty Harry not getting sacked, Martin Riggs, they're trying to fire that guy. I mean, it's all in the actual stories. It's all in the writing. And the whole thing about Ewok having AT-AT killing traps, well, they don't kill AT-ATs. They kill their ATSTs, and they kill them by dropping logs on them. And they don't even do that particularly well. They only take out 2. Anyway, so moving on, he carries on. None of these things can even be given a shut up, that's why. But sometimes you just have to go with it. Underworld and its sequels are not great cinematic art, far from it. But they are well-acted, entertaining, action-packed, rich, and consistent, brackets mostly, with their own mythology and deliver what fans of the franchise want. I'm reminded of Mark Commode's summing up of Blood Wars, where Commode said, and I quote, "It's perfectly fine if you like Underworld 1, 2, 3, and 4. You'll like this one." Honestly, I don't feel like I'm defending a bad movie by nailing my colours to Underworld's leathery clad body. The first Underworld is a good... Oh, he's bolded that and italicked it. So it should be, it's a good movie. But if I'm being Russ about it, it's a 5 stars. However, objectively, it's 3.5 stars to 4 stars. but I guess can't be objective. I'm willing to overlook the flaws because it really does deliver pretty much everything I love in the action horror genre. Russ. Well, there you go. What can I say? Yeah, that's a thing. Anyone got anything to add?
No.
No.
No,
That's fairly comprehensive, though.
Yeah, I'll give him that. Give him his due. He when he goes in for feedback, he commits. He commits to this lunacy, but, there you go. So anyway, yeah, let's move on to our MP3 feedback. And our first bit of MP3 feedback is from Michael Cornett, who's unfortunately had some bad news today. And our thoughts are with you, sir. But obviously, I don't know what this feedback is or whether or not it contains more or less Voldar. We shall soon see as we hear what he, or possibly he and Voldar, think of Underworld.
Hello, Black Doggers. Good evening to Lee, Darren, Jim, and Elton. This is Mike Cornett, the Belly Stapler, your man in Baltimore.
And this is Voldar, the Martian, your man on Phobos.
And we just watched
Underworld.
Ugh. You weren't thrilled by it, were you, Voldar?
I don't get your earthly vampire werewolf thing, and you call these things goths, and they don't look like the goths that we studied in Earth history on Mars.
You studied Earth history?
Oh, yeah. We studied the goths and the Visigoths. And
No. This is a different type of goth.
And you earthlings reuse names all the time, and it gets really confusing.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, just to cut to the chase, this is a deeply silly, deeply dumb, deeply screwy movie.
Definitely.
It really kind of, it's got all this frenetic action, and it's kind of committed to its mythology, I guess. I can give that much.
If you call that a mythology.
Yeah, I know. It's all kind of like cut out of whole cloth. And
I mean, vampires emerging in the Middle Ages. There were vampires around before that, at least according to your mythology.
Yes, I know. Still, it was just kind of dumb. They ripped off so much. I mean, this owes so much to the aesthetic of The Matrix. And there's scenes that are lifted from Terminator 2 and probably a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't know, that I never saw.
There's stuff that they lifted from Martian action films.
You think they saw Martian action films?
Well, maybe.
Anyway, so I mean, it's like, okay, it's committed to its mythology and all that, but at the same time, it's just dumb. I mean, it's just frenetic action. There's scenes that don't make a whole lot of sense, and there's some fights that just seem plunked in for no real reason. Then let's have a cool fight sequence. Who cares? And I keep remembering, because I saw this before. I saw this when it was first out in theaters years and years ago, and I went with a group of friends. And we came out and we're all just kind of like, and one guy said, yeah, it's weird because this is simultaneously feminist and misogynist. And I said, how so? And he said, well, it's feminist in that you've got this really strong ass-kicking female character in Celine. Kate Beckinsale always has wet hair, And I'm like, yeah, okay. But it's misogynist, and you have all these other female characters who are all feckless and petty, or weak and helpless. And like, yeah, I mean, that was one thing that bugged me, is you have Amelia, who's like one of the vampire elders, and you presume she has all this power.
Yeah, why didn't she use it when she was attacked by the werewolves? Why did she not do anything? I mean, couldn't she have changed into a big bat monster and torn their heads off and let the blood gush all over the place? And
okay, yeah. Okay, Voldar, yeah. We hear the Martian in you coming out.
Sorry, my therapist was on vacation this week.
Yeah, I can tell. But anyway, it was just kind of like, it was there for the goth kids who are action freaks.
It got some play on Mars.
It did?
Yeah. Didn't make a whole lot of money. No one could understand it.
Do they transfer the money back to Earth?
No, we just steal it.
Okay. Movie pirating on Mars. That's your evidence right there, folks. Anyway, yeah, that's about all I have to say for it. It's just a dumb movie, and I mean, I'm sure this could be an entertaining time waster. I mean, just like a turn the brain off kind of thing, but for some people, not for me.
And not for any Martian either.
Good Voldar. All right. I need to stop saying good Voldar. You're not a dog.
No, I'm not.
Okay. So anyway, I'll see you guys next week. This is Mike Cornett and the Grumpy Green Giant signing off.
Hey!
Mwah.
Right, okay. Well, thank you very much for that, Michael. Thank you very much for that, Voldar. Thumbs down from both Baltimore and Phobos. Not really your thing. Yeah, I agree, to be honest. Yeah, vampires, not really my thing either. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're going over the same old. But I think okay. You know what? It's probably easier just to say I agree with everything you say there, guys, because I think I'm just going around in circles. It's just like, yeah, it's tedious, and the characters are all pretty bland. The action is ripping everything from the Matrix onwards off, and really, it's not exciting or engaging. And yeah, the Romeo and Juliet story is hackneyed as all hell, so makes it feel even more pointless. Yeah, and the vague misogyny for every female character apart from Celine, and kind of undermines the sort of strong female angle. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, dude, it's late. I'm just gonna say I agree.
Every time you say Celine, I keep expecting you to finish with Dion at the end of it.
Yeah. If I were... No, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, so thank you very much for that, Michael. Thank you very much for that, Voldar. You can find Voldar on Phobos getting his psychological eval, and you can find Michael on the blog dustandcorruption.blogspot.com. And as ever, our best wishes go out to you, sir. We know you've suffered a bit in the last 24 hours, and our thoughts are with you. So, let's move on to our last piece of feedback, and it is the Orgs, Pete and Anne-Marie, and let's hear what they thought of Underworld.
Hello.
We went Underworld.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember hiring this back in the day.
I know we've both seen it before.
Yeah, but it was not long after it came out on video or DVD or whatever it was. I remember not being massively impressed with it then.
No.
My memory didn't cheat me, it has to be said. It's got a lot of potential, but it's just so monochrome. It's like, you can have 3 colours in this, basically. That's how I feel. It's got terrible music. The werewolves look rubbish.
No, they do. They don't look like werewolves. They don't look like wolves. There's no wolf bit. They're just sort of monsterish things.
Rubbish monsterish things, yeah. It's humourless.
Yeah, there's no fun in any of it, is there?
No.
And that guy, what's his name? John Craven.
John Craven would have been better.
Yeah, but he's just so pathetic. You're just like...
Annoying. You can't wait for him to die. Did he die in the end?
Oh, I don't remember. I think he did, but you never know, do you? Because they could all come back or something. But he was just a nothing.
Yeah.
No, not really.
But the only thing I liked about it, ironically, considering why you've included it, was Bill Nighy.
Yeah.
Particularly that first scene of him where he's all plugged in with the blood behind. That was quite impressive. And he seemed quite fun, actually.
Yeah.
This is slightly, slightly OTT, very OTT. But, at least he brought some colour and excitement into it. Admittedly, at the end, it's just like it all comes down to one fight, and he gets half his head sliced off. Whoop-de-doo, but
because he's fighting against the what's it? They call the Nighy in Avatar, the sort of bluish people.
Right, I don't know.
It's kind of what the mixed hybrid thing reminded me of, a bit-ish, vaguely. I don't know.
Yeah, it was rubbish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looked kind of like it was made out of licorice.
Well, it's vaguely Black Hawkish, actually, from Lord of the Rings.
Ish. But Black Hawks looked better than that, though.
They did, yeah.
And had more character.
Yes.
Because he was just so wet, wasn't he?
Oh, don't.
And she kept looking at him like, I love you. And she looks like about 6 anyway. But no, Kate Beckinsale is tiny and small and her head is wrong. She looks like one of those Funko Pops.
Oh, she looked quite good in the leather of it, you know.
I thought Bill Nighy looked good in his purple coat.
Yeah, yeah.
But then yes, okay, I do like purple. But I think I noticed it because it was colour in an otherwise... There was,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In an otherwise really...
Everything
really...
else is just blue or black.
Yeah.
So yes, pretty dire, really. There we are, with Bill Nighy being the only highlight.
Yeah.
Expect when he get half his head sliced off to go, oh, that really hurt.
Yeah, yeah. Or just even, ow.
Okay, chaps, chew bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much for that. And do catch Pete and Anne-Marie on the Borgcast, which you can find on Geek Planet Online and on iTunes, doing Deep Space Nine. Yeah, she looks like a Funko Pop. I think that would almost be an episode title if we were still doing those. Yeah, it's not a good film. And you know, I mean, no, we're getting to that point in the feedback now where I've got nothing to say. Everyone's saying it for me, and I'm just going, yep, and yep. So thank you very much for that, guys. Thank you very much for that feedback, and yes, we appreciate it. And again, as I say, you can hear Pete and Anne-Marie on the broadcast, and you can hear Pete with me on Space Doc Jury with Andy also on Geek Planet Online and iTunes. Right, that's it. We're done. Hooray. Hurrah. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. And there was much rejoice. Yeah, oh, shut up, you. Always with the last word. Always with the last word. Anyway, so, yes, so that was the end of the first of our conservatory season. But we're not finished yet. Oh, no. Oh, no. Because episode 316 brings us to our second part of our conservatory season. And that is for Mr. Samuel L. Jackson, who is a man who is replete with many conservatories. However, one of the earliest of his conservatory purchases was from a check for Deep Blue Sea. Now, Jim, have you seen this film before?
I've seen bits of this film before. I think I've seen all of it, but not always in the same sitting.
Nice. Oh, you're going to have fun with this one then.
I bet I am. I understand it's one of the best Jaws sequels ever made.
No. It's definitely not. No.
There's no Michael Caine in it, for one thing.
Well, exactly, yeah.
You mean the sharks don't roar? Or enacting on the power of voodoo curses for obscure reasons? Well, none of that high-tech marine biology shit they put in the Jaws sequels.
Oof. Well, actually, you will be surprised. I shall say no more. I shall leave. I think the joy for next week will be in your discovery. your dawning realization that the Jaws sequels weren't quite the worst ever.
Wow.
And the fact that someone gave a job to LL Cool J. But but anyway, what about you, Dal? Did you you seen this, haven't you?
Yes, I did. I didn't go to see it at the cinema. I actually bought it on DVD many thousands of years ago. Subsequently sold. I'm pretty sure I sold it and then I got something else.
Yeah.
I remember being kind of like, well, yeah. There is my favourite scene in it. I can't mention because it's a big spoiler.
But it does feature Samuel L. Jackson, if I was to take a guess.
It certainly does, and it made me laugh out loud when it happened. just because I really wasn't. It was a bit of a left hook, a bit of a rabbit punch. So I'm looking forward to seeing that bit.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of it though.
Yeah, I just remember Thomas Jane looking kind of vaguely exasperated with even being in the movie for 90% of it. And I also remember an endless sort of running gag with trying to keep the parakeet alive.
I can't remember that at all. That's how much of an impact this film had on me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, well, there you go. Yeah, got nothing. I can't say anything about it. I apart from the fact that, I watched it on an import Blu-ray. This was when I was buying imports from the cinema store. I bought an import Blu-ray, thought, oh, wow, I've got a film ahead before cinema release, but I've got it on so not Blu-ray, DVD. Yeah. And I thought, wow, I've really done well here, and I've paid like 25 quid for it. And then I watched it, and I thought, I've been done by 25 quid. It is a Jaws sequel, but not in a good way. I think that's probably the best way you can put it. But let's
do better.
Z Plus could try harder. Let's see how that all plays out and see what everyone thinks. So, if you would like to send in any feedback for Deep Blue Sea, then do send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Or get in contact with us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/group/blackdogpodcast, or on Twitter, which is @blackdogpodcast. And also, when you're on the old iTunes, there, do leave us a review. Any comments, that would be good. And do support all the rest of the hosts. Which this is your cue, Jim. Away you go.
Yes, you can hear me on my own show, Hypnagoria, every week. Last week I read one of my favourite old stories that I first came across in an Armada ghost book. Mm-hmm. A little tale called Out of the Earth, which is a lot of fun. And this week I'm going to be talking about the rather horrible and disgusting legend of the Hand of Glory.
Now, why do I get the sense that could go... that should have the big fat euphemism on the end of it?
It really shouldn't, trust me.
Oh dear. Okay, fine.
It has some very unpleasant things in it.
Nice. Right. Okay then. Well, and if you want to find Elton's stuff, it's on shonkylab.com, and it's also on rogue2media.com. I think it's the the Grand Prix podcast and Shonky Lab and Band of Brothers podcast. So so do check those out. And also I will say, because I didn't mention it a while back, but do check out Danny Davis art as well, because I got a print of his the other week and it was bloody lovely. I bought that. So do go onto Facebook and look for Danny Davies art. And take a look at some of that stuff, and and I even retweeted it back to Clive Barker, no less. So there,
wow,
there you go. He didn't respond, but I did send it to him. Anyway, so until next time, do send us feedback in for Deep Blue Sea. Have fun watching it, and we'll catch you next week. Until then, tatty bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. close to it.